A pleasant good evening to you all. And I am so excited to be with you again this evening. And you're seeing a poster right there on your screen, right? You're seeing that poster, and the poster says Bondage Breaking National Fasting and Prayer for Barbados. 3 days, August 16th, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, the 17th, Thursday, and Friday, the 18th, 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. We are going to pray for 3 times per day. Okay? And there is an actual scripture that is right there on the screen, and it is from the book of Isaiah 58, verse 6, that says, "Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke?" And that is what we are praying over Barbados. That is what we are praying over Barbados. We are praying that the chains of injustice will be loose from this nation. Economic injustice, social injustice, political injustice. Those chains will be loosed over this nation. We're seeking the face of God. We're going to pray for the untying of the cords of the yoke. Set the oppressed free. We are setting the oppressed free and breaking every yoke of slavery. So while we are going to be marching on Saturday, that's the physical manifestation of the fast. Okay, so that's the physical manifestation of the fight that we're in. And on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we go into a spiritual fight, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we're wrestling against principalities and powers. So we're asking you, wherever you are, join in, people, join in. We're fasting for 3 days for the deliverance of a nation, the deliverance of Barbados. In the book of Esther, when Haman, Esther fasted for 3 days along with her maidens, God intervened mightily, saving them and destroying their enemies. If you read the book of Esther, you will find that you won't even find the word God mentioned anywhere in that book. But the entire experience and the entire story is screaming, God is in control. And that's what we're saying. We're praying for the deliverance of a nation. It is for the deliverance of a nation, the deliverance of Barbados. And we are saying God is in control. How many of you are going to join with this fast and prayer? And I know this is not a religious show, but we are in such a dire strait in this country that I believe that this is so very necessary, and it's to anybody who wants to join in. So good evening. Good evening. I don't normally start like this, but I just want you to know that this is what is happening. Yes, are you there? Anybody, where are you watching from? I see the numbers here, but can you say good evening? Where are you watching from? What? This is too serious? Nobody's saying good evening to me? It is still the Marcia Week show, but I'm telling you, we are about doing business. Okay, when you come on the show, it's not just a talk shop. We're not just talking, y'all. We are coming up with solutions. Can you hear me? Is anybody hearing me out there? Okay, good evening. Wayne, can you hear me properly? Just want to make sure that you can hear me. Okay, Wayne, type and let me know if you're hearing me properly. I'm hearing myself well. So you just let me know. No comment. That means I'm not being heard. No. Okay. Everything on my part. Okay. Wonderful. You're hearing me loud and clear. All right. So the next thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is to like and share. Okay. So like and share. That's the next thing that I would ask you to do tonight. Yes, Alvin. Good to see you there. Loud and clear, loud and clear. Good, wonderful. Okay, great. You're hearing me fine. I see Dr. Ferdinand there, and I know he's supposed to be coming in anytime soon. Yes, so he will be in soon, and he's telling me he's hearing me. I need you in the studio with me, Dr. Ferdinand. But we wanted to just like this. This is going to be a very important show this evening. And so I'm going to ask you to like and share. Listen, we're in this thing together. We're in this thing for the deliverance of our nation. I'm not joking when I come on here, guys. You know, I go through a whole day and we're working on our, show for our children, our young people. And I'm in that, every hour of the day. And I open my computer and I come on, and you don't come on here. You don't come on here, Gemma, just to waste time. We are in this for the deliverance of a nation. And if we can get up and we're going to go out, and the protest is a the physical manifestation. And all the discussions that we've had wonderful suggestions and great ideas have come forward, right here. And this is one of the ideas to pray. In fact, the bondage breaking idea, the name of this fast came from someone who was watching the show. And on this show, we collected over $3,000 in one night for the show. So you tell all those naysayers, you tell the others that are saying that, oh, it's a bunch of lunatics. Not a bunch of lunatics. We're a bunch of people who are doing things. And we're doing things not just in the natural, but in the spiritual. Right? It takes the two coming together, right? And to fast is really is a sacrifice, giving something up, okay? And that you're going to pray with us. You're going to pray. You're going to pray 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. Okay? Thank you all so very much. And let's go now into some other natural things. Right? Because you need the natural and you need the spiritual, right? We're not going to get over spiritual here. Okay. Now, we're going to go right into the other segment of our program, and we're going to talk about crop over. So tonight, we're dealing with crop over and some of the elements in crop over, and we're going to be also talking about Bay Street and what's happening there with Mr. Kinch. We have a spokesperson will be on tonight. So share. You want to hear it from the horse's mouth. You want to hear what's happening there. So I'm going to ask you to share, like if you're watching YouTube, like the like, subscribe, and share. I don't ask for that too much, right? Because I'm just like focused on what we're doing. Someone is asking, when is the fast? The fast starts tomorrow. It's right here on the screen. Veronica, check the screen. It's right there on the screen. August 16th to the 18th, 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. It's 3 days, and you can choose the kind of fast that you want to do. Okay, so that's the information there, and I believe it's also on my page. Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. So we want to talk a bit about crop over. And, I want to show you a picture, and I hope it's not offensive to you. I am glad that the face of this, of the person that's there, that it is, we're not going to see the face, of the minor, But this is something that I've seen happen in CROPOVER, for a number of years. And I really hope that I'll be able to bring it up on the screen at this time. I'm just trying to make sure that that I'm able to find it. Yes, it's going to be a bit disturbing, I must say, very disturbing. Okay, I'm telling you from now, it will be disturbing. Okay, and this is happening right here in our beloved Barbados during CROPOVER. And it's coming up. It's coming up now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What? Folks. Oh my God. Oh my God. I told you that it's going to be disgusting. I told you that it was going to be disgusting. But the reality of this is that this happened once again, another year. It's another year this is 4-day mourning. You could see the paint on the people. This is seem to be 4-day mourning. If somebody knows anything else about it, it seems that way. The video didn't say 4-day mourning, but it looks that way to me. I know that people have been sending this this around. So if it is anybody has any other information on this video, please let me know. So this is some of what is happening at some of our CROPOVER events, and it's not the first year, and it is not this is not the only government that this happens under. This has been happening. I remember years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a petition and sent it to the Child Care Board concerning these kind of events. And I also sent it, if I'm not mistaken, to the NCF and the Minister of Culture. And nothing has been done to it, people. Yeah? Yes, I do know. I do know that there are, someone is saying here that many primary school children are sexually aware and some are active. Yes, I'm very much aware of that. But if you look on this video, what you notice is that there are adults who are encouraging these children to do these kinds of acts. And basically what is happening here is pedophilia. This is pedophilia. And we can see the faces of some of these people. If you go back, it is so disgusting. I don't necessarily want to play this again, but the faces of the adults are clearly seen in this picture. And my question is, where are the laws in Barbados to protect children? I am aware children are sexually aware and some are sexually active, but does that give us the right to abuse our children in this kind of way? And where are the laws that govern this kind of activity and this kind of behavior and this kind of sexual abuse of children and this kind of pedophilia? This is kiddies porn. This is pornographic. One of these girls are wearing string just up inside of their bottoms, and they would put a little child on top of one of these women on bottom to gyrate and to stick and to jab. and adults are doing it in daylight, and other adults are watching and cheering. So I want to ask all of these different ministers that are, they're pushing the child protection bill, the child justice bill. There is a child care board. There are children advocates. There is an NCF that is sponsoring this event. Who is going to be held liable? Who is going to be held liable for this kind of behavior? And that is the next question I'm going to ask Cam. What if this were a man with a little girl? It is the same thing, she said. The response is muted at best. Kamar, you are so correct. And when we speak of things like that, people think you're knocking crop over. I am one person. Listen, I am the person who started the Walk Holy Band. I am one person who believes that, listen, crop over, and this is all a part of our culture. But there is a way to celebrate culture. Do you know that some of these Ghanaian nurses who are here, some of you know of the nurses who are in Barbados, and they told me that the NCF invited them to some of the events there in some of the events that they have, and that they did not enjoy it at all. In fact, they wanted to leave. They said they could not dance because that is not the way that they dance. These are the Ghanaians from West Africa, where we're supposed to be from West Africa. And they complained to me, some of those nurses, and they said it was disgusting. In fact, quite a few of them told me they're not going to take part in Kadooment while they're here. Exactly. And this is one of the reasons. And so I have with me here Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols, who's on with me. And I'm hoping he would be able to put on his camera and let us talk about this situation here, because this person saying on this same note, be aware of the move worldwide to soften laws that allow the alphabet agenda and pedos who are rebranding as minor attracted persons with their own flag. And that is one of the reasons I am bringing this up again. And it's not the first year. As I said, I did a whole petition. I remember I was out of the island when it occurred, and I think I was in France or something, and I started the petition while I was there. And when I came home, I continued it. So we have with us His Excellency Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols with us. Good evening, Pastor Nichols.
Good evening. I hope you're picking me up okay. Are you hearing me all right?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear, and it's a pleasure to have you.
It's an honor to be on your show tonight, and thank you for the kind invitation to be here with you today.
Yes, sir. So you would have, I'm sure, would have seen that video. I don't know if you're able to even watch all of it. It is disgusting. Disgusting.
Yes, Marcia. I received 2 videos actually. And normally when I receive videos that are good evening, Remen, normally when I receive videos that are pertinent to matters that are, on a national level, I'm quite eager to share them and pass them on. I couldn't on this occasion. I just couldn't bring myself to pass on the videos one of them that you showed a moment ago. It's disturbing to think that you will have this, and I think we need to understand really what's going on here. Imagine those children returning to their primary school, where my granddaughter, your granddaughter, and our grandchildren are attending a primary school level and are exposed to persons who are going to be coming out of that environment and behaving in that manner and carrying that into a primary school. I don't even know if the word disgusting is I think that falls short of describing the imagery that we're watching on this screen. If this is culture, I want to say emphatically that as a Barbadian, this has nothing to do with my country. Absolutely nothing to do with my country. This is not how we celebrate culture. And I think we need to have a proper definition of what culture is. We seem to think that culture is about gyrating, walking up, and all the partying and all that stuff. Culture, by its definition, is the customs, the arts, the social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group. And what we should be celebrating at this time of the year is the achievements of Barbados and Barbadians. We should be celebrating the institutions that have been established and the belief systems that we have acquired, the arts and the customs. You know, we used to have things like singing and dance and acting, these kind of things, and it is regrettable for me to look at a screen and see this type of conduct, which is being shown all over the world, and to believe that people in other parts of the world will see this video and think that this is how we celebrate our culture. I'm disappointed and embarrassed, totally disappointed and embarrassed.
The thing is, that I don't understand is how state, because this is being sponsored by the state, because this particular event, from what I can see, it seemed to be 4-day morning, which is a state sponsored event, and this video has been circulating on social media, and they must have seen it, and I've not heard one word from this state organization, state-run organization, state-owned organization, condemning this kind of behavior. I don't know if you have heard. Have you heard anything, Dr. Ferdinand?
I have heard nothing, and I want to say unequivocally here on the behalf of spiritual leaders across the board in the country, whether they're Christian, Muslim, or otherwise, this has nothing to do with us, and we condemn this. We absolutely condemn this, and I trust I would be speaking on the behalf of the Barbados Evangelical Association, of which I'm a member. I'm certain that the Barbados Christian Council will have nothing to do with this. But what we do need is we do need to hear the voices of the leadership of churches, the leadership of the BEA. Dr. Nigel Taylor, who is now the ombudsman, should be front and center in his opposition of this. So should the chairman of the Barbados Christian Council. We should also hear quite clearly from the director of the National Cultural Foundation on this matter, even if it is pending investigation. I remember some years ago, there was the establishment of what we call the walk-up police that were supposed to monitor and take action during the celebrations of this type of conduct, even from adults. What we are seeing here is with children. And as signatories to the protection of the rights of children, Barbados is a signature and ratified. And that imagery that we are seeing is certainly not the protection of children. If you read the whole matter to do with the rights of the child, a child is defined as someone 18 years and below. That is in terms of the charter. And when we take a look at what we are signatories of, and as you mentioned at the start of your show, you mentioned about the different ministries and ministers and so on that are presenting these different bills to do with the rights of a child. This should have been commented on by every single government minister in Parliament, every member of Senate, every spiritual leader. The moment they had seen this and the moment they became aware of this, there should have been a national outcry for this kind of conduct. You talked about the matter of pedophilia, but we do know that there's an agenda afoot to eradicate the whole component of sexual involvement with children, and it's being led, and I make no apologies for saying this, and I trust I'm not out of place in saying it on your show, and I hope I don't get you in trouble with regards to it. But the United States is front and center on the promotion and propagation of the sexual orientation and gender identity agenda, forcing it upon the people across the world. They're now being supported by the European Union, certain states of the European Union. But I have good news, and that is that the entire country, the entire continent of Africa, is pushing back at this and not accepting one iota of being intimidated into changing their legislation because one country wants to have it imposed upon the entire world. We are sovereign states. We have a right to determine what is acceptable in our countries, and no country on the planet reserves the right to impose their will upon another nation. And these are things that regrettably we are hearing none of our political leaders engage in. We are not hearing our spiritual leaders engage in it. And I mean, I was surprised that we never heard anything either from the unions who have parents in them. And I believe every parent should be abhorred by what we are viewing here on this screen. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, and I can tell you, if my child was attending a school where any of those children were present, I would have them removed from that school forthwith and placed in another primary school. We are
Yeah.
aware of the fact that sexual activity has begun a lot earlier than it normally does, but it does not legislate and legalize the activity which we are viewing here. And to be
Absolutely not.
honest with you, I think it is
Absolutely not.
something the police need to act upon and
Yeah,
investigate.
but they should, because they I see Mr. Franklin, Caswell Franklin is on, and I would, I know you are a man of the cloth, but
No, I am
and
not.
you
I am not a man of the cloth. I'm not a man of the cloth. I'm simply a man from God who believes in the Lord and believes in what is right, believes in righteousness and justice, believes that we as spiritual leaders should be speaking on all matters that are affecting people. And I am appalled at the fact that we hear very few of our spiritual leaders speaking not only on this, but on other very critical matters as it relates to our society. And I believe that one of the things that we need to pay attention to, and a lot has happened since we become a republic, Marcia. And one of the things in leadership is that leadership needs to act in a consultative manner before decisions are made, especially when decisions are going to have long-term effect and impacts upon our society. And this is regrettably not something that we are seeing, not just in Barbados, but across the world.
Yes, yes. I've invited Mr. Caswell Franklin, I call him General, in on this conversation, and I just want to welcome him because to the program tonight. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. And I've heard you speaking on some of these issues before, as it relates to crop over. I don't know if you had seen this video before, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, sir. Welcome.
Yes, good night, and thank you for having me.
Good night, Caswell. So good to see you, my good
Yes,
friend.
thanks for it. I'll tell you all something. See, this is the expected outcome of what I'd like to call the state-sponsored decadence of this thing called crop over.
Yes.
Crop over is not indigenous to Barbados or even started by Barbadians. Crop over, as a lot of people don't want to believe it, because even the historians have lied and talking about it was going back from the slaves. They don't know it started in 1974. It started in 1974 by a Grenadian man who was working for the tourist board, and that he was supposed to get tourists to come to Barbados during the off season, because we had a season that was tourist season, and then we didn't have one. So they wanted to have people coming throughout the year. And Julian Marishaw, his role was to try to get tourists to be attracted to Barbados at this time of the year. And he came up with this concept. Then a few other people jumped on with Lumber Motley and a few others. But they were saying, if we do not make this applicable, and the people of Barbados, make the people of Barbados want to join in, it will die. So therein, this is what started in 74. I was a little boy then, but it started in 74. Not all this grand history that people give it, it is their lie. Then the governments have seen how, and successive governments, not one, not the next, successive governments have seen that it gives the kind of thing that will take attention away from them, give people something to jump about, and they will forget what the politicians are doing. And that is why you will see what we were complaining about last week and the week before, the National Insurance Day. That is why government put it the week before, or a couple of days before, for poor jumping up, because they know that when the people walking up in this frenzy, that the minds ain't gonna be concerned about their own life and situation. They want a situation where we are mindless people gyrating and jumping up to the world to hell. And they don't care because they will get elected. And they can sit back and let the people forget everything in this society. Everything. Whenever there's an opening for anything, you have jumping up people. You don't have any classical anything, not educational forums or anything like that. You just have people walking up, because this is the mindless nonsense that they want people to be involved in. So that the population would be out there jammed up in their frenzy, and the politicians will be moving through, carry the pensions, carry everything, carry the livelihoods. Only today I started saying somebody, look, you see some of these same young women that you see jumping up on the street. They work in banks, they work in offices, they work in ministries, and they're out there wearing a panty that's less than the size of my hand. If they were walking on the street the next day after this thing, and the wind blow their clothes up, people pull it down in embarrassment. But no, because you have this wild, satanic frenzy going on. That's what it is. That they jump out there, they don't care. Something, they're out there naked, almost naked walking through, and I'll tell you, at this 4 in the morning thing, some of them are actually naked. And the only thing that covering their body is the paint. And so their minds are now warped. And this is what the politicians want. They don't teach us anything. They don't about culture. They don't try to develop any other aspect of what they call our culture other than this mindless nonsense that they're doing. And the government is doing it. Every time they have a function now, they open up this big space, they call it the National Botanical Garden, and every time you have something, they're jamming up and kicking it up. You have unions celebrating workers, and they're jamming up, kicking up, and all kind of nonsense. All it is conditioning, mind conditioning. These politicians know what they're doing, and it started to bear fruit, and they see it. So they love it. And so while there are the people of the country are walking up and jumping up and gyrating, so you have to bring out the children in, because the old people get into old arthritis and they're kicking in. So they can't do it anymore. So you have to get a new cohort coming through to start this whole nonsense all over again. You have Kiddies Kadooment. I always tell them, let the children be children. You have so many years that you can jump up on the street. You don't need to do it at 6 and 7 and 8. But people are so mindless. They take their children down, and the children in the hot sun panting like animals that ain't getting the water, and they feel good about it because it is mind control, it is conditioning, and all for political gain. Nothing more. One party, one outdo the next. And our little children are going to suffer as a result. This cohort you see walking up behind these women now. First of all, this woman has no shame. But
correct.
Caswell, that woman there is a child. That woman there is not a big adult. That is a child.
But you had two others that were big women, Miss Pastor.
Yes, I saw on the other one.
Yeah.
There's a saying. I know I'm going to quote it incorrectly, but it's something like, "Bring up the children in the way they shall go." So when
they're old, they will not depart from it.
And this is what the politicians are doing. They want mindless little children. They want people smoking weed and jumping up so they can do what they want, but no intellectual, stimulated people
Correct.
opposing them and with the nonsense that they're doing. This country has gone to hell. If it isn't at hell already, it's at the door knocking. All because of political nonsense. No, this nonsense does not have to be sponsored by the state. Well, the state isn't sponsoring any groups that will uplift us. I have not heard about a classical music show or anything for God knows how long. I don't hear anything about it. But every year, after year after year, you got people on the road jumping up, doing nastiness, and people give them praises for it. So the little church will come along, and they will be the next generation doing the same nastiness. Because
you're right. We have to stop it, and which leads me to a very important question that I want to ask the Reverend. What I know you're not a lawyer, but I'm saying that shouldn't there be some kind of legal ramification for this, because we can see the faces of the children. Because listen guys, what I'm about, Mr. Franklin, is what are we going to do about this? We can see the faces of the adults in there as you watch the video, right? And you can see some of the faces of the others that are standing around. And I'm saying, are there laws on the books that will be able to be used to prosecute these people? Because unless you do something like this, and in addition to that, the state-run organization should be called into question about this. But it should not be something that we just talk about and we do nothing about it. Reverend, what are your thoughts?
Well, first thing, Marcia, you would have heard me mention something a little earlier about walk-up police. And walk-up police were introduced into this component of the CROPOVER celebration to help to control this type of conduct, primarily between adults. And I would imagine that if they saw it, you would be arrested, ticketed, or whatever it is you do. When I see this, I am calling on the police force. I don't even think we should have need to call on the police force. If the police are going to monitor, and they are monitoring our Facebook chats and so forth, and they're going to pursue persons in, for example, in matters to do with defamation of character and so forth that we are hearing so much about. Certainly, this is something the police should be investigating very seriously and taking action against. The Child Care Board should be engaging this matter as well. And there should be some legal recourse in terms of the Child Care Board where the parents of these children are concerned. And these are the two areas that come to my mind right off the top of my head that I believe should be enacted and should be engaged in terms of the behavior and conduct here. This has to be something sanctioned by adults and sanctioned by children, by parents who allow their children to go out into the street and conduct themselves in this manner. And you see, I believe this is where the big problem in Barbados has arrived. It has arisen in the household, in the home, where parents are not taking the responsibility of training their children and putting into their children proper values of life. This is where it all begins. It doesn't begin in the school. It doesn't begin in the cultural environment. It begins in the home. And unfortunately, I am sad to say that we have far too many homes where, in terms of my own experience in counseling, I have had situations where one child who was engaged in a matter with his parents, separated from them by a representative of one of the international agencies, said that his stepfather makes him watch his cousins through a hole in the cardboard in the house having sex together, and he was a primary school student. That is happening in his home. And so we really need to get very serious about these matters, first of all, from a parental perspective. And I really want to encourage people, when you see persons acting in this matter, in the United States of America, you would have people pick up a phone and call the police or call the, I can't remember the official name of the Child Protection Agency in the United States, but they would call them, and you may even have your child removed from your house and from your household. These are things that we have to get very serious about. And I agree. I'm not sure to pronounce this word, Remien 6070. I agree. There are parents who are watching porn and having sex in front of their children and leaving pornographic pictures and movies and cell phones, not monitoring their cell phones and their tablets and their devices, not putting parental controls on them, and children are accessing all of this information, many out of curiosity. We have to take action.
Yeah, I'm here thinking that one of the action points could be, I mean, I guess I'm sorry, Lynette is not here as a lawyer. She probably will be coming on a little later, but where we, can someone, bring this to the attention of the police, go and make a complaint to the police. Is the same way if we saw somebody stole and beat up somebody on the road, then we could go to the police and say, you know what, I saw so and so hit an old man on his head, and or this like what they did with what about what the kids did with the homeless people, and they have dealt with those children legally. So why can't we make an official complaint to the police? Because we would be just as culpable as those people who are watching and cheering on. Caswell, what do you think about that?
We don't need to make a complaint to the police. The police are monitoring all of these things.
That's the same thing I was just thinking.
Have to
yeah,
make a complaint to the police if they see you see you parking on a place in town. Police will ticket you, or they will write you up, whatever. You don't have to. Two people fighting, nobody going to make a complaint. Police sees it, they can take action. This problem here, the police will not take action of it because they will they're going to get promoted, because this has political backing, and the politicians are responsible for the upward mobility of the policemen. As a matter of fact, they have taken over that responsibility. When it is not theirs, they have taken over. So this is called contributing to the delinquency of a minor. It is their crime. However, the police ain't in trouble that because it is state-sponsored. It is the same state-sponsored behavior as people cheating on elections and nobody doing anything about it because the chief electoral officer is a public officer and ain't gonna get promoted again. So right now, I can check it out. Everything that the politicians have put their hands on, is this reverse Midas? It turns to, you know what, brown fecal matter. It don't turn to gold. Everything the politicians put their hand on, they have destroyed. They destroyed our society. Look, let me tell you something. And it's only aimed at black people, Tell me if you see any white children out there doing this nonsense. Tell me if you see any Indian children out there doing that nonsense. I am not racist. It is not from a racist perspective. These people, we are destroying our own society for money, for whatever it is. I do not know. But watch, the white people, they might get involved with that. They might have the blue box here, walk up front every year, and that's their thing. But they're gonna judge and they're jamming up on the body. But you're gonna see one Indian in this thing. The thing is, my office is near to a mosque, and I have to admire those little children. Some of them I think can be much more than 3. Heading to the mosque every day for something they call madrasa, because they teach them how to be good citizens, how to be good Muslims. We ain't doing that now. Go to the churches and see how many people are in Sunday school. As a matter of fact, Sunday school now is something completely different than going to church. All state-sponsored. This is state-sponsored decadence. And the politicians out there jumping up. Then you can see a prime minister on our TV screen, because I said on YouTube, jumping up and in a frenzy, and people to a song saying, "We don't give a," and she's dancing to that, talking about her that she doesn't give a, but we're seeing it. None of them ain't seem to give a, you know what. And if you have people of the cloth, I think I call it so already, but people of the cloth who sit down in cabinet and shut up, because my pick as a minister remains, if I don't sit down, if I speak out against these things, we have people of the cloth in cabinet,
That's right, and in Senate.
And they sit down. Hold on, let me talk about the Senate. I will cry. I sit down because he's asking about this same-sex marriage. I think he's even a subordinate, so don't let me go there because that hurts my heart. They sit down to guard their pitch. So they shut up because they don't want to offend the people who can put them in the Senate or keep them in the Senate. You see, look, we have to have some sort of integrity. Integrity is like hen's teeth now. Very scarce.
But weren't we talking at one point in time, Caswell, about integrity legislation? Weren't we talking about legislation to be passed through Parliament for parliamentarians to be held accountable, even in terms of their assets? Why do we have to have agreements? Why do we have to have all this nonsense going on through the Parliament and Senate when it comes to integrity? This should be something everybody signs on to. But obviously, they're not interested in integrity. And I want to say, Caswell, I am tired of party politics. We must now do what is in the best interest for our country, whether it is DLP, BLP, APP, or whatever P you want to call it. We must now do things in the best interest of our country. And it's regrettable that there are so many lackeys, so many people that are in people's pockets and under the influence of so many persons. You cannot make a righteous judgment. You cannot make a just decision. You cannot do what is right. And when that happens, you have a country that does not regard righteousness. And when a country doesn't regard righteousness, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. You know, there is I just want to read an article that was in the newspaper that just bothered me so much because I don't know if a lot of people know, but I work with children in Barbados, children and young people over 20 years. I put on a lot of different events, etc. Right? And at the end of the Kiddies Kadooment, Pastor Ferdinand, and I'm seeing Heather is in as well, our regular contributor. Heather is in, so I'm going to try to get her in as soon as I remove this picture. But I want Heather to, when she comes in, to make a comment on this. But listen to this article. And then look at the article I have on the screen. It said, CROPOVER a success despite some issues, says NCF. So this is a state saying how successful CROPOVER was. All right. And but here we saw what we saw that happened on 4-day morning. And listen to the band leaders. Band leaders complain about organization of Junior Kadooment as parents demand refunds. This is written by Sharia Brathwaite. Several band leaders are distancing themselves from what they said was the confusion that occurred during Junior Kadooment, as scores of parents demand refunds. In an interview with Barbados Today, President of Barbados Association of Masqueraders, Jason Thompson, said that as far as his membership and several other costume designers are concerned, last Saturday's event had failed, but what transpired was no fault of theirs. Among the issues the band leaders discontented were the late advertising of the event, children having to wait up to 5 hours before parading on the stage, which led to some fainting and having to seek medical attention. Children not receiving any water in the heat. Lack of proper communication between NCF and band leaders. Rude and disrespectful attitudes of NCF marshals. And how prizes were awarded. Thompson said band leaders were not responsible for those situations, and if they were forced to issue any refunds, they would seek reimbursement from somewhere, as he sought to clear the air in an attempt to diffuse the situation between band leaders and upset parents. Thompson explained, the day after Junior Kadooment, many band leaders would have reached out indicating that they were not satisfied with what took place. Based on the amount of band leaders, I saw it to be a very important matter which needed immediate attention. So we had a meeting yesterday where we came together and to be given the opportunity where we could all explain and discuss our challenges and problems that we would have encountered. The reason they said for taking a conversation to the public is so the public understands that it is not the fault of the band leaders that these negative impact took place, but rather that of the logistics and the organization of the NCF. This is a way this is a way for band leaders to allow the public to know. Okay, so it goes on, it goes on and goes on, and it's a really very sad article to read. And when I read that, what I hear in that is abuse of children who are fainting in the sun, fainting for lack of water, because the NCF is supposed to provide the hospitality for the children, etc. Children waiting for 5 hours. Did this organization? And what I know that when you have events for children, that's one of the things that you make sure is that the children are comfortable, right? That they would not have to run. I can't imagine myself, Dr. Purdy, having an event at Praise Academy and children are fainting in the back, and children passing out and have to seek medical attention. What is that? That is that, and that is a state. This is a state event. Did you know of this? Did you know of this, Pastor Freddie?
You are dealing with an organizational matter here, Marcia. This has been going on for years, and it is unfortunate that we're coming into this event this year and facing these challenges. This is something that has been repeated. I mean, I host events as well. I've hosted some of the biggest meetings, not only here in Barbados and Trinidad, massive meetings. I've been a part of the organization with meetings with over 56 and 50, 60 and 70,000 people. And one of the things that we are very careful on is in matters of organization. We ensure persons have their own dressing room. We ensure persons that have dressing rooms are very well equipped. They are provided with liquids and all these kind. And if you're going to make that effort as it relates to an adult, how much more child, especially when we are hearing all this talk about climate change and all this kind of stuff, where we are experiencing a lot more heat than we have experienced before. You should have known going into the event, even in the nighttime, Marcia, the nights are warm. And you should have known for a child, goodness gracious, for me, I mean, you know me, I perspire like a pig. And I have to have water at my disposal. In every event I'm in, I have a bottle of water next to me. I'm an adult. And you're going to be engaging these matters. So what you're dealing with here is poor organization. And I must say, unfortunately, I believe the Accountant General makes it very clear how pathetic the aspect of organization is in governmental offices, all the way back through to financial matters. And I am aware of the fact, even in terms of the private sector, we've heard it over and over again. If the private sector was to run their business the way government runs government, they'll be bankrupt. They'll be out of business, because it is poor organization that we're dealing with here, poor planning. So you can't really seriously express that an event is successful. And the main players that are involved in the event are saying something different. What you need to do is to shut up your mouth, sit down with the people, find out what went wrong so that next year it's not repeated again.
But before I say anything else, I have to correct you on this. If private sector run their businesses like government, they'll be bankrupt.
Well,
Most
go right ahead.
businesses in Barbados depends on civil servants to get their businesses being operational and functional and profitable. The thing is, people only see the few that are bad, and they then extrapolate them for the whole society. We have damn good civil servants that run this place. The problem isn't civil servants. The problem the politicians don't have taken over the civil servants and everything else. The civil servants ran this country for years. We exported civil servants to all over the Caribbean to help develop those countries. Don't forget, I remember I was a little boy, I went to St. Lucia in 1976 or 77, and we went touring. Acting Commissioner of Police was a Barbadian. Acting Postmaster General was a Barbadian. one acting permanent secretary was also a Barbadian. We exported civil servants in this place. Now the civil servants are being destroyed, not allowed to do their work. So don't let the people go on about telling. So mind you, I'm very much union. I have to let you know that
That's
civil,
fine.
civil servants,
That is fine.
civil servants have run this place and have run it well, but politicians have come in and have destroyed it, brought in all the nastiness that you see here. So let me talk about your children now.
Thank you.
And then we're going to go to Heather, and I have a caller on the line.
Right.
Go ahead.
Listen to me. Bring up the children in the way they should go. They want the children doing this because the children will walk for them down the road. You don't see every year at common entrance, you see a whole bunch of politicians rushing in the schools, giving children little rulers and pencils and little books and stuff because they want the children. It's 12, 6 years down the road to remember that they are polluting everything they put their hands on. I don't know why people don't tell politicians keep away from my children. That is what should be happening. So now you have these little children now, they are fainting and passing all kind of thing. Let children be children. They will be. They have a lot of years. I have been that much longer. I've been a child because I am over 60 now, and I was an adult from my teens. And so I could wait to do adult things. I do not have to I didn't have to do adult things in my youth, in my formative years when I was a child. But we are asking the little children to do adult things. We are making them men and women. A lot of them are disrespectful because they are allowed to participate in things that they have no right in. And it is all state sponsored. We need governance that will say to us, we are about integrity first. And anything else after. Mind you, Marcia, the integrity bill is supposed to be in the Senate tomorrow. And they're trying to set up a scenario where they're going to blame the independent senators for failing. Mind you, they never put it to the vote the last time, so you cannot blame anybody. They knew they didn't want it passed. All this show and tell.
Actually, Lynette is going to come on a little later, and we're going to touch on that. But let me just we have a caller here waiting, but let me hear Heather. But let Heather just say something very, very brief on this, and then I go to the caller.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night,
what I would say is I haven't been to a Kiddies Kadooment in about 17 years.
Wow.
So the last time I was there, my son was about 10, and he participated, and I don't remember it having any logistical issues that people have been talking about in the newspaper. To me, it was pretty straightforward. So this was kind of shocking to hear that people had all of these issues, so much so that commentators had to take to social media to say that this is what happened is not what the authorities said that happened. So it had you kind of weigh who was right. You weren't sure who to believe, but one person spoke out, and then another person possibly had confidence to back him up and say, yes, they were there, this thing or that thing happened. So we are at different wavelengths in believing what has happened. So I don't know why the government is putting out this narrative that it was, or the NCF rather, is putting out this narrative that it was an overwhelming success when a lot of people are saying no. So perhaps they need to go back to the drawing board and what they were doing before that work to do it. Because if something is not wrong with the wheel, why replace it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me hear Mr. Nigel Newton. He's been waiting a long time. Good night, Nigel.
And good night, Marcia. Good night to your panel.
Can you hear him?
Very, very low.
Very low. Okay. So can you speak up a little bit more, Nigel?
Well, I'm doing my best.
Okay, what you can do is to turn off the other. It's better now, but completely turn off your device that you're listening to me on.
Sorry, that was my mistake. That was my mistake. Sorry. Yeah. Good night. Good night. I have a number of questions, but I will give you two of them. Ask two of them now.
Thank you.
Okay. CROPOVER is our main form of cultural expression. Okay? Do you think our cultural expression has a role to play in nation building? One. And two, how can our culture assist us in the development of the parliamentary republic of Barbados?
Can you repeat the last question? Assist us in what?
Okay.
In the Parliamentary Republic of Barbados.
Oh, the Parliamentary Republic. I didn't hear the word Republic of Barbados. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your questions, Nigel. And let me just hear the panelists respond to that. Who wants to take that on?
I can say something, right? He made reference to culture being how we can see it in our parliamentary democracy or whatever it is.
Parliamentary republic.
Parliamentary republic. To me, culture begins at home. And if you have a strong family unit, it embraces your entire family and it showcases who you are. And I don't see what we have in Parliament representing the people of Barbados. And I have to be honest about that. In no form or fashion, what have they been doing to develop? For example, if the country was a family, what have they been doing to develop their family? I don't see it. And when it comes in terms of the future, I think that if our culture is to perpetrate, to go any further, and by culture, I don't mean walking up, because to me, that is not culture. I think that we have to raise the level of consciousness of the people that we have in the House of Assembly to first see us as Africans and Africans who have been victimized, and to raise the consciousness of the people, and everything else will fall into place. So that is my first premise.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Ferdy.
You know, I don't recall. Guys, will help me with his name. A former Minister of Health, under the I think he would have been under the Arabara government, that appeared in Parliament in a shirt jack suit for the very first time. It caused a uproar. Branford Tate, who tried to trend away from the whole mentality of suits, you know, being very colonial and so forth, trend toward something that was a little more national, representative of more Caribbean and that type of thing. When I hear Nigel speaking about the cultural expression having a role in nation building, first thing we have to define is what is culture. And sorry, the banner is hiding the name of my sister here on the screen. So I don't. Heather, thank you. What you said is so correct. What is the definition of culture? And when I look up the definition, it speaks about the customs, the arts, the social institutions, the achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So that we should be celebrating what we have accomplished as a people over the past 50, 55, 60 years. We have been independent since 1966. We have achieved a lot as an independent country. When are we celebrating that? When are we using that to establish and build the whole aspect of people's interests into, you talk about parliamentary, building what? Parliamentary
Public.
responsibility and interests You talk with the average young person, they don't have no interest in politics at all. They're not interested in anything to do with that. And a lot of that has to do with what happens from the time we're coming up through our family upbringing. I grew up in a home, and Kazal, I heard you make mention about this a few minutes ago, train up a child. I had to be in Sunday school every Sunday evening at 3 o'clock. Do y'all remember that when we were attending Anglican churches? Our parents sent us to Sunday school 3 o'clock every single evening. Today we have parents letting children decide whether they are going to go to church or not, and decide what they're going to watch. And to me, it has a beginning process at home. And so if we're going to talk about our culture impacting parliament, we have to start paying attention to our customs, our arts, our social institutions, and our achievements. I think it is important. I mean, we have now had several women very highly involved in politics in Barbados. You remember there was a time there was hardly a woman sitting in the parliamentary seats. Today we have a woman who's the president of our country, a woman who's the prime minister of our country. And these are things that, as we grew up, our parents inspired us to reach for the clouds and achieve them because of all the things that we had been taught in our society. So, yeah, I think we need to get back to what is genuinely our culture. And what I am seeing on the street on a what you call it morning, whatever whatever morning you call it, doesn't represent our
4 day morning.
yeah, it doesn't represent our arts. Look at all of the children who used to do all those great dance and great music and acting and everything that we used to have in the Frank Kalama Hall for years, and you couldn't get in there for those events that were hosted. I don't know what has happened to them. I don't even know if they had anything this year.
Yeah.
Let me tell you also
Yes.
something.
Yeah, this is the last comment on this, and then we have to move to the next topic. Go ahead.
This is carnival by another name.
Exactly. Yes.
Carnival. I see. We didn't have carnival in Barbados, and we didn't want to call it carnival to compete with Trinidad. But the carnival that we know it came out of a Catholic tradition, where just before Lent, the period before Lent, you let out your demons. No, but we have a system now where you let out your demons every month, not only Lent now, because we didn't even understand. We don't understand, or we don't care that it was where the Catholics, they want to let out the demons and then they can live pious lives for the Lenten period. This is all about. That's why you see Trinidad Carnival finishes whatever Ash Wednesday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because it has a religious thing about it. This ain't got the religious thing in it. This is just walking up nastiness, foolishness in the streets, and it has nothing to do with our culture. It has people call our culture, our culture, our culture, our culture. When did it become part of our culture? When this and I told you earlier, it started in 1974. I was a little boy then. And thankfully, I'll tell you, I've never participated in any of them to this day, because I see it as decadence, and I will continue to see it so, because I do not allow people to think for me. Our people have surrendered their minds to the politicians, and the politicians are warping them and putting them back out there to become more and more decadent as we go on. Freddie, you were talking about integrity earlier,
Before you go on, that you said so, Caswell, it reminds me of something that I read in a history book a while ago, that the planters used to feed the slaves with a lot of rum, like around the Christmas holidays, and they used to behave horribly and get drunk and be vomiting and things like that. And the next morning when they awoke, they were so ashamed of themselves that all they could do was run off and go to the fields and work. It's the same thing that is happening now. The very same thing.
Same mentality, same prison, same colonial mind.
Yeah.
No, but you see, the thing is, but this time the slave masters are like us. They're black people.
Yes.
They have adopted because since they have become the power, they now decide, well, we will use power the only way we know how. The way we have been taught by the slave masters, because they have now become the slave masters.
They are.
You see, I am sorry for this country. We don't have a God. We don't have anything. No, we just have politicians, and people worship them.
Yeah.
I'm
If
sorry.
you look on the screen, I said it was the last thing, but I just want you to look at the screen, and this is going on. This is on social media, and
But
I guess
that's
this
not
is
Barbados, is it?
It is.
it is. It's 4 morning.
Oh, Jesus.
4 morning, I bet she's a tourist.
This is 4 morning. So is this you know, I mean, she's an adult, so I'm not, you know, people are adults are whatever. I'm asking though, my question here is, this what we are promoting then as tourism? Is this what
Yeah.
we want to work?
But
Because this is all over.
Must be.
This
But that's the
is
thing. That's
all
the thing that's
over.
going through my mind. I mean, imagine that this is the picture. I'm embarrassed. I mean, I would be embarrassed to go anywhere and say that I'm a Barbadian with the world seeing this kind of imagery, because this is how they're going to determine who we are, what we function like. This is the imagery they see. And earlier you were talking about this matter, Caswell. I wrote down the word desensitization. Hollywood is a master at it. And what has happened is that over the years, politicians have been contributing to the desensitization of people to things that are abhorrent. And this is the problem that we have. And I must say that I agree with you wholeheartedly when you talk about, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to think that some of the people that I know in Parliament that I would think are supposed to be moral, God-fearing, godly people don't have the intestinal fortitude to open their mouth and stand up against things. And that is regrettable. That is unfortunate.
And that this is what is being promoted as, you know,
Sad.
as, you know, tourism. Now we must say though, that before the last comment, this is actually the last comment, that there are some good events in Cropover. There,
Yes.
that, you know, you have that, for example, the pick of the crop. You do have some very good sounds that are well arranged in there. Some of the, even the soca, well, I don't think they had the soca competition this year. That was pushed out because of the new holiday that was instituted, CARICOM Day. But good, if you're into, you know, good music, well arranged and so on, you do have some. But there are some events, I believe, that, you know, the state really needs to take a look at some of those events. And I believe that adults who are abusing children, the state, because it's their event, the state should be held accountable.
Yes, I agree with that.
The state should be held accountable, and the state should not. This is something that the authorities, they should probe to the very end until they hold people accountable and liable for child abuse and sexual abuse and pedophilia. That's just my belief. And the very last thing I will say about that. Thank you so much, Dr. Ferdinand, His Excellency Reverend Dr. Ferdinand. Thank you for coming on, for being on the program tonight. Thank you.
Is Ferdinand leaving?
I am leaving, but I'm going to be here.
Oh, okay. I want to put out an appeal to encourage the church and its members, as many of them as you can get, to sign the petition. It is for future Barbadians. So please.
Which petition is that? The petition to do with the NIS?
Yes.
It's being signed by a lot of us. Trust me, a lot of us. I've spoken to a number of people. I myself have signed 2 petitions actually, with regards to it, because it has an impact upon us. It has an impact upon our generations to come. I'm sure Caswell and Lynette would share even more on that. But yes, and I do have upcoming meetings with other ministers that we'll be discussing what our responses are going to be like in terms of these national issues that we're facing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and God bless. God bless. I know you'll be around, but thank you so much. Yes. Now, guys, we haven't seen Lynette on, and we're supposed to have someone from Savvy to be on, and I'm here waiting on this person to come on, but we can still discuss it for a few minutes. You know, I read with intrigue the this letter that is being sent around on social media, and had to do a little research myself on what is happening there with Mr. Kinch on Bay Street. And it seemed to me that you know, there's some similarities with it, with the Miss Ram situation. And I know that when Miss Ram was going through her ordeal, and she still is, she's still never have not been paid one red cent by the government. I spoke to her only a couple of days ago for her property. um you know, a lot of people laughed at her because some, you know, people have their different views about Miss Ram, and they did not see the injustice of it, Heather, of what was being done to Miss Ram. But I want to ask, I know Heather, you have been seeing what is going around. Can you just, in your own words, can you summarize what you think is happening to Mr. Kinch?
I think it is just a similar situation as what happened to Miss Ram, that a private developer has his eyes, or have their eyes on that property, and is using the government to get it the same way as was used to get Miss Ram's property. Same situation. We just have to give it some time and see it play out. But to me, it's the very same thing. However, many more people will be impacted. I wish that people had taken the side of Miss Ram. They saw her, it was an injustice, as you said just now. They saw her as this employer who mistreated people, and they went down that road, but they never opened their minds to see the ramifications or the effect that this would have, that if you allow the government to get away with this situation, yes, they will come back and do it again. And that is exactly what they are doing now. However, more people than one person will be impacted this time around, because it was told that, and I read that there are many small entrepreneurs who work in that establishment called Savvy on the Bay, and their livelihood is under threat if government carries through with this taking away of the land. And I saw a video clip, I think it was on a short video that Savvy on the Bay is running, and it has the Attorney General speaking, and he said that the land will be put to use for all Barbadians, which makes absolutely no sense, because before it was not being utilized. And why would the government take someone's land to put it in a car park when right now it is a productive enterprise? It doesn't make any sense. And technically, on a broader basis, why this doesn't make sense is in the development plans for that area. I am not aware that this was identified. I'm not sure about that, but I'm not aware that it was. And even if it was, they changed the plans for the Hyatt to include Miss Ram, and the Hyatt belongs to a private entity. I see no reason why, if they had plans for this area, why it could not be changed and be for economic enterprise for Barbadians instead of being a car park. And it was there left to ruin with all kinds of garbage and so on it. And the government didn't have a concern then, but now that somebody possibly wants it, it's a big thing. They want to take it away. And under no circumstances do I believe that it should happen. I think the people should stay their ground and do whatever possible that they can to prevent this from happening. So if it happens, this will be the second time it happens, and it means that we would have emboldened them for it to happen again, so they can go around the country willy-nilly, collecting people's land to do things with, to give to their friends and family and whatever. And to me, it doesn't set a good precedent at all. So the people must stand up and be in solidarity with Mr. Kinch and all of the other small entrepreneurial people who work in that establishment.
Yeah.
We have to make Barbados work for the people, not the government. The government is not a person.
But you know, I just want to say something here before Mr. Franklin jumps in, and I'm eager to hear what he has to say. I was told by another businessman that you know, that there are quite a number of employees in that establishment. I was told that it's over 100 employees there, and plus quite a number of businesses. So it's not just Mr. Kinch that is going to, you know, be at a disadvantage, but it's all the employees and all the small businesses that are inside that operation. Someone is asking, has a question for you, Mr. I just want to find the question. I can't find it. Somebody wanted to know who vested the property in the BTI in the first place. Who vested the property to the BTI? And they want to say in the first place.
Let me start by responding to something that Heather said. She said what the Attorney General said made absolutely no sense. Heather, I'm surprised at you. When have you ever heard the Attorney General say? You know, you know, you expecting,
Oh my God.
but you expected, you know, look at there. You know, but seriously, I'm serious about that though, but seriously, even more seriously, I was the only member of Parliament who opposed taking away Ms. Ram's property. And I said, if you do it to Ms. Ram, you can do it to other people. I was vilified. People saw me on the street and tell me off for standing up for Ms. Ram. I said I was not standing up for Ms. Ram. I was standing up for justice, because there was no justice in this. You know what I tell you? So, since Ms. Ram, you went to St. Lawrence Gap and you want to take away people's property for the same developer. And now you come to Mr. King. So government has a way of bad behavior. You have the right to take any property for public purposes.
Correct.
So how is a private developer building something to make money for himself and his investors a public purpose? That is something that should be left to the market. If the Hyatt wanted to buy Ms. Ram's property, they should approach Ms. Ram. And if she said, well, my property is for $40 million, man, we can't pay that. Let them negotiate. No, instead, they have connections with politicians, so they can go to the politicians and say, look, we only want to pay $20 million, Ms. Ram want to take it. We want you to take it for us. That is corruption. That is corruption. It has nothing to do with the public purpose. Public purposes, hospital, clinic, roads, you name it, things like that, housing, yeah, but not for a private developer. Now, let me start with Mr. Kinch. Since that property was abandoned years ago, Paros, all manner of people went there, destroyed the place. They even had them to take out the windows and bar it up with cement blocks because Paros were living in it. Mr. Kinch approached the government about buying it.
Mm-hmm.
The government said to him, you have to give us a plan for this property. What are you going to do with it before we sell it to you? He submitted all of that, all those things. So the government knew from way back in 2015 what Mr. Kinch wanted to do with that property. He put in all. So when you see the guy who was pretending to be chief town planner come out there making statements, he's only telling half the truth. So when you read in newspapers, you say, tell Mr. Leach, my buddy from school, that what he is saying is the political version to sanitize what the government is doing to Mr. Kinch. It is not the whole truth and nothing but. Mr. Kinch bought the property, well, started the purchasing process under the Democratic Labour Party administration. In 2015, and it took all the way down to 2019 under this administration. So if they wanted the property, they can say, look, sorry, we in our development plan, because you don't come in a plan for something like this overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So they will have their manifesto, they'll do all kind of stuff, they will put it in it. And they completed the sale to Mr. Kinch for him to go ahead and do what he proposed to do all those years ago. So they knew. But I believe with all my heart that this is another Miss Ram situation. Somebody is eyeing that property, because I remember Ross University wanted it on stage to build their school instead of Sherburne, and also they wanted property over the other side of the road. But the problem now, the flying ointment in Mr. Kinch, you gotta get him out. Ross Dow says that we're not interested, but they got somebody that might be more interested. We don't know who that person is yet. And certainly, government cannot come up here and say to me with a straight face, oh, we want it for a car park. No, they want to take advantage of Mr. Kinch, because Mr. Kinch is a lowly businessman who doesn't, as far as I know, and I've been around the place, I've never known or heard of him being in politics or anything. And I don't know if you got any political friends, and that's probably why, if you had one of those, we haven't done now.
Mm-hmm.
This is corruption. This is the state abusing a businessman, taking away his property to give to somebody else. I understand that the government said that they want him out, I think, by March, April, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but I got a lease for my the people who rent from me, operate businesses there. And the government said, we don't want them out, we want you. So they will take over those people as their tenants.
Wow.
Yeah, the government going to take over these people as tenants and to force Mr. Kinch out of business. Now, if you know the area down there, Mr. Kinch has a plan, in-town plan and everything else for this whole property. If the government take up the land that they want, it will destroy his concept. It wouldn't be worth the paper it's written on anymore, because what they will be doing to him now is asking him, his entrance will be at the traffic lights. You know, you don't have an entrance at the traffic light there. You know, he'll be going into his property right in the middle of the traffic lights. So that doesn't make sense, but they want to take over the piece. They're actually trying to destroy this man. For whatever reason, I don't know, because we've seen in Barbados where a politician did not get campaign contributions from a businessman in Barbados, and they attacked the business, almost trying to put it out of business because they didn't get campaign contributions. I don't know if Mr. Kinch contributed anybody campaign or not. I don't know, but if he did, he wouldn't have this problem now. This country needs integrity. It needs people of integrity, and it needs politicians who will stand up and be truthful. And if they find that the party is not going along their line, they say, sorry, I can't be involved in that. They get involved in anything. They seem to have no moral minimum. Whatever happens, they always find a new law. Now you are taking away a man's business that he paid $4 million to the government back in 2019. And the government won't pay him back at the same value, the same price that he paid back in 2019. Why everything gone up? Why are they doing this to this man? Why are they trying to destroy business in Barbados? I don't know that this Barbados party have any successful business people in it. Look in the entire House of Assembly and tell me successful businessmen they got. They got none. All they have are people who, when they're out of power, can't find work. They're not business
Yes.
people. They don't know anything about business, but all of a sudden they become expert. And
Mhm,
because
mhm.
they have the power of the state, they can go and abuse people's rights and take it away. And let me tell you something. It is not a public purpose. And I am going to challenge now if Mr. King goes to court, one of these courts will find a way to call it a public purpose because the court has been stacked with political people. Our court in Barbados have been stacked with political people.
Corruption,
So
corruption all the
you are
way.
not going to get justice. You're not going to get justice in Barbados because this party that is in power now has destroyed everything that we hold dear. And when you destroy the judiciary, now you're destroying business. All roads end up leading to them. If you want a job, you're going to go to them. If you want a loan, you're going to go to them. Everything is them because they somehow feel like they're our masters. They just wake up.
We have to wake up. Wake up, yeah.
If you do not wake up, you will find yourself in duck's gut. Mind you, duck's guts, you don't stop there long because it's come out really fast, but it's come out as something else. Trust me. Do not let Mr. Kinch suffer like this because he's a white man. And you know all these white people are saying, because how many people I'm saying, Lord Black. Then I might come from my little 2x3 and take that off for me too instead of one car park here.
Yes.
Government is not supposed to be getting into the market like this and abusing its authority for its friends. If this happened in England, heads would roll. And Barbados, nothing rolls, certainly not heads, because we have a parity, not necessarily a system of Westminster system of government. We have a parity of the Westminster system of government, and we pretend that we have a parliamentary system in place. No, we don't. Because none of the checks and balances, look at the checks and balances, you call the Auditor General. Anybody pay any money? Nothing works in Barbados. Nothing works.
Yeah. You know, we have here with us Jamal from Bar Cutters of Savvy on the Bay. And I just want to welcome him to the show. Welcome, Jamal.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Jamal,
Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure having you here tonight. Are you one of the entrepreneurs there at Savvy on the Bay?
Yeah, definitely. We were actually the first to go down there at Savvy when Mr. Kinch actually invited us. I never met Alan before that, but since I've met him, I interacted with him. He's been very nice. He's been very generous to us. How we got there is I was actually looking for a new spot for my trailer. We were in 6 Roads at the time. And it wasn't really working out in 6 Roads. It was just the logistics of going all the way to St. Philip, our bases in the Bayland. And I was talking to Terry. We were doing BMX. And I was talking to Terry from Terry's food truck. And he told me, man, well, you don't check out Kinch place. Kinch no building someplace but you. I said, building someplace but me. I said, but the traffic lights. So I was like, oh, I saw the construction. I go and check it out. And he said, well, just go out down there and ask for Alan Kinch. And you should be fine. So I went down there and asked for Alan Kinch. I met him and he said he has a lot of people that want spots, but they aren't ready. I told him, are you ready? I said, you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. So next week, Bar Cutters was there. It was still a full construction site. It wasn't still bobcats moving, workmen there. And we were there with our trailer. I mean, that was even before there was actually actual electricity there. We were there with our generator and we were and from there, Mr. Kinch was just very generous and very understanding with us, and he just really has the vendors in mind for his vision. So every step that we've made up there, Alan Kinch has been there to assist the vendors. So I can't say anything bad about him for sure. He's been very helpful for us.
And how has business been there for you since you started?
Business is fantastic. The thing is, when we first started, because a lot of they just didn't know about it. The first 4 months, I didn't pay a cent in rent. when he got electricity, they didn't pay a cent in electricity, no water, nothing. He was just
Wow.
covering everything until it got to a certain way. Then he
So
said,
hold
"Okay,
a
tomorrow we
minute.
get
So
the collection."
so Mr. Kinch, this is a man we're listening here, Caswell. This is a man that the government is deciding that they're going to draw him over the coals. This is a man that is doing what the government's supposed to do, facilitating small
he
business owners.
Yeah, and it's funny that you should say that because government has tried and failed many times to do what he is actually doing right now. I mean, just to see at the Eagle Hall Market, um, the um, the the spot there at the by Spring Garden, along Spring Garden, that Barvin is doing. There's a lot of times that Pelican Village is another one that government has tried to bring entrepreneurs together and they have failed miserably.
Mhm.
And Alan Kinch has just come and just everything just fallen into place because it isn't as Caswell would have said, this isn't politicized. He actually brought vendors who know what they're doing, who are experienced. There's bar cutters there, there's Terry's food truck there, Akitree down there. I mean, there are people that actually know what they are doing. So it's not a situation where my cousin or this constituent or that constituent or this body niece or this body godson want a stall and them come there, they may paying the rent, they may doing what they're supposed to do. A bunch of people hanging around doing whatever. It is people that are actually about business, and we get down to savvy, we get down to business, and everyone loves it. So when you
Yeah.
bring people that know what they're doing and people that are serious about what is not a handout that we got, is an opportunity to build something. And I cannot say anything
Mm.
bad about it. So when you could see where that area was. I am not originally from the Bayland, but I've been in this area for the last 20 years. And when you could hear the AG talking about, oh, he want to give back the land to the Bajans, and there have been generations of Barbadians have been using this land for years and years. It was like it literally a 2 foot track. The width was 2 feet leading out to the beach. And on each side was bush, illegal dumping, mosquitoes breeding, rats breeding. The building that was there was filled with garbage. It was just a mess. It was not anything to be proud of. It was just a track that people used to walk through to get to the beach. It wasn't an area that you could stop and lime at. So when the AG comes out and he says this, he wants to give it back to Barbadians, and it's not right what Mr. Kinch did. What was it that was there? It was a gravel track that people just used to pass through. It was nothing to stay at. It was nothing to line by. You can't go there at night. How Savvy is set up is a 24-hour location now. So you could actually go there and be safe. You could go on the beach and feel safe because there's always activity there. So for the government to just come and try to manipulate Bajans with this foolishness, but they want to give it back to the generations of Bajans that were using it. People were not using it. Not how he wants to put it. It was a track that people just go down to the beach. And right now, the beach access is, I would say, about 20 times wider. There is a full beach. You could access the beach from the main access, which is basically a 2-lane road. And then you could access the beach actually from walking through Savvy. And the thing is about it, there is no place on Bay Street, I ain't even gonna say Barbados, on that Bay Street stretch that is more accessible to Barbadians than Savvy. No place. I don't want to call the names, but if you know the places on the Bay Street stretch, there is no place that is more accessible to Barbadians than Savvy on the Bay. Not even the bathrooms at Browns Beach, which get locked after a certain time, get locked after 6 o'clock or something like that. You barely can up on the beach. You can't run up on Browns Beach. Savvy's the bathroom is always open. It's a 24-hour location, so you can actually access the bar. You can access the facilities 24 hours. The vendors have the option to open 24 hours as well, but we don't have the facilities or the resources to do that. Most of us, the guys that go late, we shut at around 3 o'clock, and that is fine by us. A lot of agents love that there. So from the concept of it, when Alan first told me it's 24 hours, I was like, you sure? But they say you could do it. And I say, yeah, man, I got it covered. and it is working. I was pleasantly surprised how quickly Bajans accepted it and just adjust. I say, wow, this is fantastic. And they just and this has doesn't even have anything to do with the tourists who are coming in, because I was told that there are actually 9 ships that are slated to come down to Savi. Last year we had 3 ships that had their staff parties at Savi,
Ah, wow.
and it is something that is growing. So why would you just come along and bulldoze a place that has all this potential? You gonna come and push it down to build a car park that no one asks for. Bajans don't care about car parks. We just park on the road and block up the place, and Vans is gonna block up the road up. Bajans don't complain about car parks. Kensington
Jamal,
was built before a car park. People park along the highways. No one cares. We don't care about car parks.
Jamal, you said something earlier, and I wanted you to repeat it because I want everybody, because some people might have missed it. You said that when you first went down there was no rent, there was no water.
Right now, not for the first 4 months.
Tell me about that. Because people feel that but so he's more developmental.
Yeah, he actually gave us an opportunity to just run our route until he actually got the place to a certain level, and even know. I mean, there was a couple. Well, I made a couple because I invested in another. I made another investment that wasn't really working out, so it was a little late on my rent. Alan didn't come knocking down my door and pressuring me or anything like that. Therefore, he was like, it was no problem. It would just pay the rent next month. He is a very easygoing guy, actually. Right? When you really meet him, he isn't like thing I would call it. He was a gentleman. So thus far, he has been very accommodating. I even heard that he actually gave loans to assist some of the vendors to help with their builds, because me, I always have my trailer. I have my trailer. Our trailer was built in 2016. We got that paid off in about a couple of years, so my trailer is mine. So I just had to park it and just leave it there. But other people had to actually build from scratch. You will see Jordan English with Taco Dan. He had to build his structure. Sticks had to build their structure. Aki Tree had to build theirs. So Tapanaki had to build theirs as well. So Alan actually gave people some loans to assist with their builds. So that is something, again, was something that government should be doing. And unfortunately, as a small businessman, I was operating in Barbados. This is next year going to be 10 years that I've had bar cutters. And to be honest, getting things from government is usually very difficult. The whole Savvy was actually built, and that's why I'm afraid of government coming and taking over, because I heard some rumors where, they don't want to move us. They just want to get the land from Ireland, but we could continue with doing what we are doing. The problem with that is that government is the problem with that is government is so bad at running things that I am not comfortable with that, because they run things into the ground. Again, Pelican Village is a fantastic example, a place with so much potential, and they just can't get it right. I don't want to be a situation where this person coming in and that person coming in, and even with Savvy, there was a point in time where we were still figuring out the location. So it's like a divide. So there is the part for the events, and there's a part where the vendors are. We were doing like events for the vendors. We were doing like karaoke, and we were doing like different, it's the salsa dancers coming, because we try to have the events every night. And what happened was that the event side was our event. So we said, man, we told Alan, this isn't really working out. This divide. People gonna walk too far to the bar, gonna walk too far for food. You gotta build a stage over here. If we told Alan that on the Friday, the Monday he was measuring up for the stage, but the next Friday the stage is done. The stage was done. If this was government that was running the same stage that you will see in like the videos, and you go down to Savvy, as soon as you walk in on your right hand side, that stage is what was built in basically a week. If that was government, you gotta write a letter to this body, you gotta do a proposal to that body, you gotta wait till next year budget, you gotta do that. Something was done in a week. So that kind of listening to is not anything political. We told him, you need a stage, he got a stage put in. It was as simple as that. So it isn't anything for me. I could tell you, I'm not trying to promote Savvy or anything, but I've been a lot of places in Barbados. I've been in Six Roads. I've been in Rendezvous. I've been in Rockley. I've been on Robert Street, Culloden Road. My trailer has been a lot of places in Barbados and Savvy, where it comes to the actual comfort of my customers and the business side of it. Savvy is the best location that I've ever been in, and I don't say that lightly because I know what it is to build a business from nothing. And I know what it is to really get people coming to a business. I know how difficult that is, especially a place that you don't know. It started in 2014 in Dunlow Lane. People didn't even know where Dunlow Lane was. I was selling outside, out of a side door in a house. And I know how difficult it is. I know what it is to sit down, sell one ham cutter, and then sit down and watch a whole movie before the second ham cutter sells. I know what it is to build.
Yes.
So what we get here from Savvy is you have a place that they're actually pushing on their own. They're not just letting you sit down, letting the vendors sit down and just look at each other. They're actually doing their own marketing and what's not, and bringing people in and getting the word out. I don't know anything about negotiating with cruise ship owners or anything like that. They actually went out there and did all of that. So that's how they were able to get the Mine Chief 1 and 2 and the other cruise ships to have their staff parties by us. So it was a lot of things that they are doing in the background to help push and elevate the place. So all of that, I just said that just leave Savvy alone is something that is good for Barbados. It's good for Bajans. It's something that is good for these small businesses that are there. And for you to move Savvy to build a parking lot that literally nobody asked for, that's a travesty. And you really have to look into that. As Caswell says, the only thing you could only really chalk it up to some kind of corruption because why are you doing this? It's like, and then there is the article that they said they want him to revert the building. I don't know if you call it restore or unrestore, de-restore. You revert the building back to its dilapidated state. And I was like, that sounds like a joke. I spoke to a lady on Sunday who called me, and she said she had to leave home and go and buy a newspaper to see and make sure that this was not a joke. And this is an experienced lady. She is a make sport lady. She said she had to see for herself that this was not a joke because it sounds, as Caswell said, it sounds like a parody. It sounds like a spoof. Why would you want to take a building that was an eyesore?
Mhm.
This building was a rat mess. This building was full of garbage, mattresses. I don't know who was sleeping in there. I don't know if it was a hotel for the paroles or what, but it was a rat nest. It was mosquitoes breeding in there. It was all kind of foolishness happening in there at night. It was not safe for Barbadians to go out there at night. You can talk about it's a park. It wasn't safe to park out there.
Mhm.
You don't know who could be hiding or what could be hiding in the bush. So it was not a safe place. So for them to be talking about they want to give it back to the Barbadians who were using it, and there was nothing that was taken away. There's still full access to the beach. You could tackle, you could park in there. The only thing is because there's this, what we do on the weekends is it is a Savvy voucher, because the parking originally was just you could just come in and park, but because our neighbors, and again I'm not calling any names, kept having events and sending all their patrons to park at Savvy and filling up the parking lot, and then the actual patrons who doing business with Savvy could not park. We actually started doing a Savvy voucher, so you have to pay $20, and that you get a voucher, and that $20 is redeemable at all the vendors at the bar. What's not? It's not you paying for parking, but it's just ensuring that the persons on weekends where our neighbors have big events, so that everybody that paying that coming into Savvy actually doing business with Savvy. So that is the main thing that we doing right now. But
I don't understand.
yeah,
Marcia, this is what's happening.
Mhm. Yes.
Savvy was developed for Bajans.
Correct.
Yes, that's what
Correct.
I'm realizing. I'm realizing that.
This place is too good for Bajans. You see
Mm.
the neighbors that you don't want to call, I ain't gonna call them either, but their businesses run Bajans.
Mm-hmm.
If you're black and you get on them places and you don't look bad, you don't look bad, you look Bajan, they'll find a way to put you out or one get those boxes to throw you out. So they want this government is encouraging that type of behavior. Kids, on the other hand, and he's smart because the tourists ain't gonna be here all the time. But Bajans will be here all the time. So when the tourists are not coming, like when during COVID, you will still get Bajan customers. So he has a better concept than the other people down the world who only want Bajan, only want tourists. You see? But let me tell you something. I read that thing with the center which return the thing to its state. They can go and get back the paroles too. Because
I asked Alan if you want me to go urinate in the corner to really get the smell going how it was before. I asked him if you want me to go and help out.
You know,
because it does not make any sense.
No, Del Marshall, he is going to return it to the people. Ask about the development in St. Joseph that he ain't trying to get returned to people.
I thought about that. Yes, I thought about that.
Ask him about that. This is a bunch of hypocrisy. They want to come now and play the race card and the get back to the people bit so people will go up against Mr. Kinch. And Kinch is there doing more for the people and entrepreneurs in this country than they are doing. They set up a lot of finance organizations and lend the money to their friends and that don't get paid back. Now you got a man with a social conscience helping poor black people because Jamal is not you the rich.
No, I'm not. I am not. I am far from.
So he helping the poor black man, but no, they don't want anybody else to help the poor black man but them, and they want to help their own poor black people. They don't want you to be.
But the thing is,
committed to the Barbados Democratic Party, so that they will give you your handout and things. They don't want coming from anybody else. They want everything to be handed down from the Queen on high. Mayor cares.
But Caswell, the thing is, I just want to add to your point where the government should actually be thanking Mr. Kinch for what he's doing because Savvy was done. That building was restored and not a cent came from the treasury. Not 1 cent came from the treasury to restore that building, to build Savvy, nothing. And that is a space, I'm glad that you said it and not me, that is a place for Barbadians to come and hang out, to come and lime, to come and relax on a Sunday. And not 1 cent came from the Barbadian taxpayers to pay for Savvy. Like a lot of the other projects where it will cost $1 million, and then the budget, when you see the Auditor General, as you mentioned, $100 million or more disappear. Nobody can account for it. Nobody can say, not 1 cent came from the taxpayers to pay for Savvy, and Savvy is a gift to Barbadians and something that is still building. Because I mean, there is still more that Mr. Kinch that I am not privy to speak about that he has. There's some more ideas that he has in the pipeline, but again, this was a gift to Barbadians, and for the AG to be out there saying that he wants to give it back to Barbadians. It was never taken away from Barbadians. It was actually enhanced. This was a bush track that was not safe at night. You could not, if you look at the photos that we posted, some photos, there's a video that's circulating where the AG is talking about some things are priceless. What is priceless? The garbage, the rats, that was priceless. I know there is no cost to paroles, so that's probably is priceless. There is no cost to the vagrants that were sleeping in the place. That's no history. And people talking about is a person, because again, there are persons who would always be on both sides of it, but there are persons coming to me to say that the building is from the Barbados Trust, the historical trust. And my thing is like, trust, were you trusting? There's no trustees. The building was musty. There was not a trustee. That was nothing to be proud of. There is no history. There is not the Colosseum in Rome. This was an old building that paroles used to go and live in and burn down, similar to what they do to the buildings across the road, where there are like 30 or so buildings that stretch from Bay Street all the way to the roundabout with Purity. Those buildings are frequented by vagabonds and paroles and vagrants and people that are really up to no good running down the place. This is not a history to take anybody on a tour of. Like what you can show people the garbage there in the corner. We can show people what you get, what is the value in that. So my thing is what Alan Kinch did for Barbados. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a businessman, so he's still looking to you know, he has his bar and he's doing different things and what's not. He's still a businessman. He has to earn money and what's not. But my thing is, it is a place that is open to Barbadians and you can go and use it freely. It isn't a situation where people rushing you to leave as soon as you get there, people looking at you and what's not. You could just come, you could sit down, you could enjoy the amenities. If you feel like you go there in a day, you could go and rent a beach chair and you could just hang out. And that's all it's about. That's what it's about. So for the AG to come and say that he didn't get permission to do it, why is it that Barbadians have to go down this line? Again, Caswell was saying about the court system. How the court system is, as Caswell said, bought and paid for. The same thing is happening in town and country planning. The same thing is happening in the Fair Trading Commission, where these entities that are supposed to have Barbadians at the forefront have been politicized. So when you, as a businessman, have a project that you want to get off the ground, you bought land for $4 million, using Savvy as the example, and you want to develop it. And you send them proposal after proposal after proposal after proposal, and they keep on shutting you down. Like, what is the purpose of buying the land? To cut the grass? What is the purpose of buying land? You buy land, especially beach property, to develop it. So why did they sell? They sold him the land. According to the AG, they could not stop the sale. But when they can't stop the sale, what has Alan Kinch done with the land? He has developed it and he has given it freely to Barbadians. Why are you going to stop him from doing that? What is the point of it?
Excuse me, I want to say something. If the AG said they cannot stop the sale, that was absolute rubbish. I can tell you why. My own family, my brother was about to purchase land from the Anglican Church in St. Thomas in Rock Hall. The government stopped that sale and took the land to do what they call the Rock Hall Freedom Village, which, by the way, is not in Rock Hall. It's on the Glebe, St. Thomas, but they don't know that. They come there with Russia with their nonsense history. So they can stop anything. Government can do anything that they want to do, especially a government that got all 30 seats. So don't tell me that the government can stop the sale. Government could have acquired it if they wanted to. No, somebody have expressed an interest in this property and they want to take it out for their friends. That is all that it is. I tell everybody, anytime you hear the AG talking, listen for foolishness. Does not make sense to them at all. So, and what he is saying, you can drive a truck through it. It is always a bunch of nonsense. He does not think before he speaks.
Yeah. Hold a minute, Caswell. There's someone on the line here. Go ahead, Mr. Newton. Let's see if we can hear you.
Oh, well, I missed quite a lot from the show from the time we had the disconnection. So
right,
you will have to give me a slight summary.
Oh wow, we have gone so past that segment. I don't know if you hear, we're talking about Savvy on the Bay right now, so that is what we're contributing to at the moment.
Oh well, I missed everything completely.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, another time then, okay?
Go ahead then.
Okay.
So I will probably get it later on.
Later on, yes, thank you. All right, so he's having some technical issues and he could not hear. Now, one of the things a businessman that I trust very, very much, and he called me very early Sunday morning, very upset about what was happening to Mr. Kinch. And he said that he knows Mr. Kinch's father, and that over the years, what he's always said, that he would never bribe a politician. He said Mr. Kinch's father would say this to him all the time. He's an older gentleman, and he said to me that Mr. Kinch would always say to me, "I would never bribe a politician," and he would rather to take his money and give it to the communities. And we can, when we listen to this young man here, to Jamal, and it sounds like that is what is happening. You have some, because I'm into business, and I'm just imagine what help that is, that you could go for a couple months and you don't have to pay the rent and you don't have to pay the electricity. You can then put that money in the business and to grow it. You understand? It's like a big thing that comes off of your back. And
Yeah.
he said, that he really, really believes that it's because they did not believe they got any kickbacks from it, and no bribes. He did not bribe them. He did not do campaign, pay for campaign, whatever you call that, but campaign finance. He didn't finance anybody's campaign. He didn't bribe anybody. He didn't ask government for anything. He bought the land. And so this is what he's been saying, and what you're saying here seems to be confirming that. So it's quite quite interesting,
Yeah.
to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of, I don't know, it's got misinformation, disinformation, everything. But for me, I want people to actually use their common sense, actually break down these things. I've heard all things that he didn't lease the land. I hear that he's squatting on the land. I hear all kinds of things that he using the vendors as a human shield and what's not. But you have to sit down and break down things and look at it holistically. If Alan Kinch was squatting, or if he just leased the land or something like that, would the government have to enact certain laws and do all kind of things through the court system to get him to move? No, because as Caswell said, he did not have the land where squatters' rights would have to be enacted or anything like that. He did not have the land long enough for that. If it's a lease, if he was leasing the land for government, they would just pay him out and just say, all right, you got XYZ, you got to move by XYZ date. He owns the land. He actually pays land tax on the land, which is more than they could say for certain individuals in Barbados. So my thing is that he bought the land, and they're trying to tell him what he can do with it. And again, what he did with it was phenomenal. What there was before was just an illegal dumping ground. And he
Can we
gave
say something?
It was an illegal dumping ground.
Yeah. Go ahead, Heather. We have another 5 minutes on this, because we
Okay.
don't want to go on to we still have to talk about some pension stuff. Okay, so go ahead. Heather.
You said that you have, this is for Jamal, that you have a relationship with cruise ships, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so you have a platform using those cruise ships to get their passengers to assist you with your petition, or whatever inference that you have with the government of Barbados.
Well, it's more Alan that has the Alan,
Right.
That has that connection.
So you have that platform to use. So I would suggest that you use it. And there are more people that would. Well, cruise ships are a whole big entire association, and they would have thousands and thousands of people. So get him to mobilize his request on their platform, and I am assured that it can work for him. Don't make it just a Barbados problem.
Good
Make
idea.
it a problem.
Yeah, but for me, I think it could be just, I think Bajans, as long as they come down, everybody because I got some people. It was built so fast, like there. I remember I was trying. I guess I'll give this quick story. I remember one of my customers. He told when he came down there, he told me that he was trying to get directions to this place, and the girl was giving him directions, and he from the area, and he's saying, "But what you talking about? There's just bush we talking about. You mean Worthing Square? You mean where you?" And he's struggling because the place was built so fast that when he came down there and he saw me, he was like, "Jamal, when this built?" Like his eyes were actually wide, and he was like, where all this come from?" He's like, I grew up out here. I just pass this road all the time. Where this? I didn't know about this. And that happened so many times because Savvy was built so quickly. Again, it was done outside of the taxpayers' wallet. It was done efficiently. It was done quickly, and at the end of the day, the vendors were set up, and everybody was doing business. It wasn't a big long time. You go away a year or 2 years. Like similar time Burstown where they had to remove vendors for a year. People just not having their income and what's not, because a lot of these people really don't understand. I do this full time. I don't got some government job where I could just sit down and just do this on the side, or this is my full-time job. So where people will say that why I speaking out is because this is mine. Bar cutters is mine, and I will speak out. But because there's a culture of victimization in Barbados, and a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people don't want to say anything because they are afraid that they will be victimized, and I can understand, because at the end of the day, persons who do work with government and what's not, you will realize that their contracts dry up, or persons who work certain places, you will realize they live in Saint Lucy and they get transferred to Six Roads, or someplace else that they will be very inconvenient for them to get to. There's a lot of victimization that happens. They got the temporary workers that will lose their job.
Correct.
And that's what happens in Barbados. That's why people are so afraid to speak out. That's why sometimes I used to work in government, and you will have people rallying together, say, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like the next thing. And then you call a meeting, and then no one wants to speak up. I was always a vocal person from school. I was always vocal. I speak up. I believe in fairness, and I believe in looking at an entire picture and seeing how can we make this progress, how can we work to move this forward. But a lot of people are feeling that they might be victimized. A lot of people don't want to speak up because they know how it is in Barbados. We have a culture of victimization. And that is something that I would like to see changed. I don't know how it will change, but that's something I would like to see changed so that people can be like me and more free to speak up. Because for me, I don't got nothing to lose. I see this as this savvy is something that Barbados needs. I don't want to take it. I don't want to say that it is we entitled. This is something that was built. This is not something that we believe that we more don't put down about or offer anybody to get. This is something that was bought. It was done the right way, and it just is building organically. As Caswell saying, the money in passing the hands, or nobody ain't had to worry nobody or anything like that. Everybody came together, and everybody is working to make this happen. And it's a very, very sad thing. It's a very sad day in Barbados where people want to play the race card, they want to play the poor people card, they want to play this card, that card, debate, or they want to take back the land and give it to Barbadians and all of that there. When at the end of the day, there were times I was trying to get my trailer in locations that were run by government, and again, they run around. I got to send this proposal, that proposal, the next proposal, and then at the very last, I about to step over the finish line, and somebody else from nowhere come and say, "Nah, you can't do it no more." Bam! I shut the door in my face. I did not experience that with Alan Kinch. It was actually very smooth thing.
Smooth transition, and now your business is flourishing, and this is what you are experiencing. What every small business owner would love to experience.
Barbados is very hard right now. I have other locations, and I have other things going on. Barbados is very hard, and Savvy it shocked me how well it's doing.
You made me. I've never been there, and now I want. And listen, you made me want to come down there on Sunday. Now listen.
Yeah, Sunday's a good day to come down.
Yeah. Okay. So listen. Go down there on Sunday, guys. Make sure we go down on Sunday. Listen. This is a question
Marcia,
for you,
before you,
General. This is a question for you. So say what you want to say, but I want you to answer this question here because you're the man for this question. But go ahead. It's the question is what can we do at this juncture? And I love Kamar. I'm about doing. What are we doing? And here we're talking about again. Let's go down to Savvy. I'm about answers and solutions, right? What can we do at this juncture? My friend Kamar is saying, will the Savvy owners join with this movement? Sharing all these salient points this gentleman just shared so all understand what is happening. That's a question for you, Mr. Franklin, and then you can go ahead and make your point, sir.
see, but what these fellas that Jamal must do is to embarrass this government into inaction, to stop them from behaving badly against them. Go out there, even if you have to go and get permission from the police to hold a meeting, to address the public. They don't like that. They don't want it. Because right now, these people, I don't know, I cannot say that they are on the tape because then that will put Marcy and me in trouble. But it smells like it smells like fish. It smells fishy.
The thing is that for me, I have no problem with doing what needs to be done. I don't want to make this political. I'm not a party guy like that. I would tell you I work with politicians before in my previous job in government. I'm not really enamored by them. If it was up to me, if other people are debating by parliament and all that, hugging them up and all of that, then nobody won't be doing that. I mean, I just want you to come out, you do a good job, you have Barbadians in mind, and in my opinion, this decision to push down Savvy and to try to manipulate Barbadians with this whole, or you want to give it back to the generations of Bajans and what's that? It's come on, I don't know where Dale Marshall came, where he grew up, but that land was not land that any generation of Bajans or people from before would care to go back to. They want this right now. This is what is needed for that area. Not
that is ludicrous because Mr. Kitch put it back in the state that Bajans can enjoy.
Now you can actually use it. You could not use it. It was literally a 1 or 2 foot track. It was a gravel track between bush. You know, when he was young, you used to rumble in the tracks. I used to rumble in the cane field and what's not. I don't know where the AG grew up, but this was not that. This was a place that you just walked through. You could not utilize the land. The land was unusable.
The government wants to do what Mr. Kitch has already done. That's what the AG is saying. Mr. Kitch has made it available to our Barbadians. The AG they want credit for what Mr. Kitch has done because they want Mr. Kitch gone and they want you, Jamal, as their tenant.
But Caswell, you don't need credit. Caswell, you don't need credit. You just gotta say thank you for doing this for Barbadians, and they will get the cosign from there. Just them saying thank you for doing this for Barbadians. But actually do something. But I guess that's too much for them.
I do not know Mr. Kitch's political affiliations. I don't know if he has any, but I can tell you what they aren't. They aren't Barbados Labour Party. I'll tell you something that. Why the public, and I don't know if Mr. Kinch will want people to know, but I can tell them the government acquired land from him 16 years ago. I haven't paid him for it yet. Land up by Coral Ridge. 16 years.
Yeah, he told me about this, but yeah.
When the IMF tell the government that they're going to pay all the people that they owe for these land acquisitions thing, they pay almost everybody else but him. And they will even give him bonds. He was willing to take bonds. It's something about him that they don't like. So it is. I'm afraid that it is the government coming down on somebody because they are not affiliated to them and they're unfair in him because the man right now, as far as I'm concerned, he's a hero for Barbadians. He's got to be a hero for you, Jamal, because right now you'll be celebrating 6 words.
Yeah. You know man, the gas alone, man. I had to go there 2 or 3 times a day. The gas alone was murder, man. Other than even without the logistics.
So he is developing young entrepreneurs in this country, and the government don't want him to do it. Why? Why are there? And the thing is, I have never heard the chief town planner come up making these kind of statements yet. Because the government pollutes everything that happen. The chief town planner don't make statements. He don't, because they don't discuss people's business in public.
But the thing is, when I heard that they have people proposals that were in from 2010, and I mean, you got proposals in for 13 years, for 10 years. Like what is happening? What are we doing in Barbados? That is what I've been asking people. What are we doing in Barbados?
They
When
are
people
not
come to me
putting
and tell
any
me that he doesn't have town or country planning permission, I ask them, look what he has done with the land. What are we doing? And they also said he doesn't have permission from health, and that is also not true because health has come there many times. We have some extremely large grease traps behind each of our trailers, which in my opinion belonged behind a restaurant like Bubba's or like a massive restaurant. But they told him that he needs grease traps of that size that they're moving forward, and he did it. Isn't that he fight up or anything like that? He actually did it. So they have we have these little trailers with these humongous grease traps, and it shows that health actually went there. So when he is saying that you don't got the clearance from health and you don't got the permission from town, is like I ask, what are we doing in Barbados? Do we want to hold on to these old musty buildings that all about the place that Ninja Man sleeping in and all of that there? Are we going to carry tourists in there to show them anything? This is not the Colosseum in Rome. This isn't the Stonehenge. These are old buildings that are in need of refacing and restoring. And what Alan Kinch has done is he has restored a building at zero cost to the taxpayers of Barbados. And that is something that I hold very dearly because I do not like when they have these projects that's supposed to cost $10 million and $100 million down the line. The project ain't done. You want to know where the money gone? The Auditor General writing up all kind of things and nothing ain't happening to nobody. Everybody saying, well, I don't know what happened to the money. And then people, and then Bajans, as usual, holding the bag. So I don't like that. I would prefer them to encourage more of this than more of the other scenario.
Scenario. But go ahead, Tesla.
It's not zero cost to the taxpayers. It is at zero kickback to the politicians. And that is why he's getting his problems too.
Corrupt. It smells. You're smelling something. There's something. It smells of something. It smells of something.
Zero kickbacks.
I don't know. I for this whole thing, they want to come and take up the land and say that the government has within their right to come and take up. How you gonna take up Saudi land? Go and reclaim Port St. Charles. Where you want to come and take Savi? If you want land, premium land, go and take up one of those hotels on the Gold Coast or the Platinum Coast. Why are you going to take up Savi and run Bajans out of business? If you all say that y'all can enact these laws and y'all can get the land, go and take up Royal Westmoreland.
Exactly.
That's what they go and do.
You know, so what will happen? There are some people who've been asking. They want to come out because Saturday, guys. Remember, we have our march on Saturday coming up, and this is going to happen starting at Massacre Park, right there at Kensington, and exactly what we did last week. We want to go again this week, and it's because there's just so much injustices that's happening, and sometimes Mr. Franklin, we can get very, very selfish. I hear people say, well, I have my own pension plan, so I don't need to come out to to support anybody else. Or they say, well, I'm going to get my pension. But I hear Mr. Franklin said, listen, he's going to get his, but he's out there for you, for the younger people. And here it is, you have some other workers. I'm hearing that probably you guys might have about 100 workers. I don't know how many employees that's there, in Savvy. That they're worried about their what's going to happen to them, and anybody who they're to me it's like a threat telling them the government will not be in charge. They're going to be worried about their business. They know that's the end. That's the end, really. So the question that is being asked, Mr. Franklin, do you think that people who support Savvy there would be room for them to come out to the march on Saturday.
I would like to see them in their numbers. I would want to see them with placards that saying savvy so that the people will know that they're not only supporting the march for the pensions and national insurance thing, but they have a cause too. I would welcome them with open arms. This nonsense has to stop. This tyranny that the government is unleashing on the population of this country, unless you are a BLP person and stuff, has to stop. And the only way it will stop is if the people stand up against it.
The thing is, I just want to speak about. I just want to give a little quick view on the pension, where you can look at the NIS and the so-called economic reform that was done, where $1 billion was taken from NIS. That is something that was not right, because that's money that was owed to NIS by government, and that money was totally written off when this government reformed the economy. So my thing is that is actually money that could have been utilized for Barbadians, but they kept on taking money and using it as some kind of ATM. Even I will go as far back as David Thompson. I'm not a party person, but David Thompson took like $20 million or something like that. I put in the Four Seasons Hotel, and Four Seasons is still an eyesore down there, which is, again, that is also land that they could reclaim if they want to build a parking lot or something like that there. But my thing is that they're using the NIS as an ATM, and they want to throw it back onto Bajans, saying that, oh, it isn't working. We have to raise the contributions on the employers and the employees, and we also got to raise the retirement age. Like, I mean, it feels like you got to work yourself into the ground. On the day of your funeral, you still got to show up for work in order to be able to pay for it. So for me, that the whole thing about the NIS is totally wrong. I think it was totally mismanaged, and that is all I want to say. I know it came to speak about Savvy, but that is just something that I think that Bajans who really were left holding the bag by some irresponsible politicians who are just out there just living their best lives, in my opinion.
Valid opinion, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is an ad for the march that is running on the screen. Action. We came on here on Monday, and Mr. Franklin, you weren't here on Monday because I know you were dealing with some other things and getting your rest as well. And let me tell you, in one night there was we raised $3,000 to cover this march. Okay, and this is a place of action. And so on Saturday we want to come out. And we're going to be talking about the bill and etc. But there is an injustice that is being happened with here. Okay, sorry about that. But there we as Mr. Franklin has said that those who are supporting Savvy, we would welcome you with open arms, to be there with us on Saturday. Okay, with open arms.
We actually also have a petition as well.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, we actually also have a petition as well on change.org. You could go on the Savvy on the Bay Instagram page, and you can see it there in the bio if you want the link. All the vendors post it as well. We have about 25. We started on Friday, and there are about 2,500 signatures thus far. But we want a lot more to really show the government that no one wants this. I mean, everyone that I asked says I would say 99.99999% of people do not want this. The only people that want it is the people that like explaining things, that will come to say, oh, he didn't have permission, and you gotta get permission for these things. Nothing in Barbados is done the right way, as Caswell has said before. Nothing is done the right way. All these big contracts and all that you see these big contracting companies get, nothing is done the right way. Savvy is one of the few things that was mostly done the right way. However, because of certain individuals at Town and Country Planning, because I believe that department has become politicized, just like many other departments, he was not getting permission to develop his own land, which again is not right. It's not right that Town and Country Planning has proposals in there for over a decade and people still waiting on them. It is not right. It's like, what are we doing in Barbados? That is a question. We just waiting around for political handouts. Is that the country that we want to leave to our children? Is that what we want to do here as educated people? We just sitting around just waiting for a politician to tell us what to do or where to go. I gotta keep on asking people, what are we doing? If something like Savvy can get pushed down to build a parking lot, nobody is safe, and people need to understand that. As Caswell said, Alan Kinch got land taken from him, or the government acquired land from Alan Kinch 16 years ago, and he has yet to receive any money for it. And it's only because he is in the position that he is in that didn't affect him. But there are a lot of other people where government acquired land from them and they did not get money. They had to wait years and years and years and years and years, and that is not right to take somebody's land and then don't pay them. First of all, paying them less than the land is worth, and then you taking forever to pay them. Like, what are we doing as a country? And what are we encouraging? So we cannot allow the government to just enact these laws just because. Again, I wouldn't mind if it was something like if Alan had the land and they took it and they built something like Savvy on the land. Okay, that is fine. But the Savvy is already there. It's something that is already there. It's something that is working. And for them to just come and say, oh, they want to bring the bulldozers and push down the houses, nah. For me, that is not right at all.
Yeah, there are lots of injustice. Now, Caswell, there is. I'm seeing. Before I go to you, actually, let me just ask Heather something. Heather, I know that some of the Bajans, some of the diaspora, they were saying that they are planning protests and rallies against the proposed NIS and pension bill overseas. Have you heard anything about that? I know you're in New York. Is there any development on that you can report to us tonight?
I was not here for the program yesterday, so I don't know if it was repeated. Was it repeated yesterday, last night?
Yes, there are some people who are saying that. I just wondered if by any chance you know anything about that.
No.
If there's anyone in the diaspora if you're planning a protest to join us on Saturday, concerning the proposed NIS and pension bill. If you're overseas and you're planning one, please contact us, because we would like to be able to advertise it, because there might be others who are close to where you are located, your location, who might be able to join you. So if it is that you're planning anything overseas, and we would want to also be able to broadcast it, to promote it. If you're overseas and you're planning any protest or rally against the proposed NIS and pension bill, you can call the number on the screen, 1-246-236-7000. Okay, feel free to call that number as well. Now, Mr. Franklin, before we close, I'm sure you've been hearing that the workers at the NIS, they will be having half day tomorrow, because there is some meeting with the NUPW workers there. Did you hear anything about that?
I've been hearing a lot of things. I've been hearing, starting from the beginning, that after they have completed everything, the government shut down NIS there last week, carried the people up to some church or somewhere, I don't know what, to tell them about their plans that are already legislated. This is everything in reverse. Government never does anything right. You are consulting, you are telling me about what we have done. They should be telling people this is what we intend to do, so they could have gotten input from the people who actually work the system. You know, and you could never follow the suit. They saying that they have a meeting now after the legislation was passed, and they brought in national insurance people to their members. You know, they were part of they were invited to be part of the group that they had. They should have come back to their members and said, look, this is what the government has put to us. No, they sat down and keep it quiet, keep it silent. A union is the agent for its members. As an agent, you are supposed to report back. You are not supposed to hold things secret from the workers that pay you. If you were my agent, I send you to do a job for me. And when you come back from doing the job, and I ask you what happened, you say, I can't tell you, I would fire you. And that's what needs to be done to NUPW right now. Somebody needs to fire them. They're after the fact. They're coming out and trying to. Like, I saw something. Sorry that BW now is going to speak and they consult with their membership. Could the General Secretary of BW is a member of the House. She should have been there telling her workers up front, this is what they're proposing. No, but they kept it secret. They kept it so secret that they did it a Friday evening after work when the boys were looking, so that it would pass. And people tired. Nobody even know that the House meeting. And then they would have gone to the Senate the Wednesday. But you remember that Monday and Tuesday were bank holidays. They were moving in the slide. They didn't want people to know. They wanted to spring these things on you, and when you finish, they say, oh, it's done already. And the unions, major unions, not Unity Workers Union, assisted them. The union now seems to be an agent for the government, both NUPW and BWU. They are acting more in the interest of the government than in the interest of the people who pay them. So anything that they're doing now is a waste of time. What the people should be doing, I tell them already, I'm not saying to come and join me. If you want it, that's your business.
Well, Kemar told them the night you weren't here. Kemar told all of them, go and withdraw your membership and go and join Caswell Union. You weren't here, but that's what
excuse
Kemar
me,
told
guys.
them.
Marcia, Caswell, guys, I gotta go right now. You know.
Yes, Jamal, it's a
Busy
pleasure.
guy, so thank you for inviting me on the show, guys.
Yes.
For sure. I really appreciate it.
And we hope to see you on Saturday.
Okay,
if
for
you
sure.
can.
Definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
okay. All right. God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye. Yes.
You know, I'm saying to them, even if you don't want to come and join me because you have a problem with me or something, so you should not be throwing your money behind them. $26 to buy a chicken. Go and buy a chicken rather than get to them. They are deceiving you. They are cooperating with the government, and the government is not an employer of any decency. They are treating people worse than some of these private sector employers that we complain about. But you see, the thing is, the Labor Department can't go after the government because the chief labor officer going after the government. The chief labor officer looking for work. So workers in the government work in horrendous conditions, and some of these unions sit back and don't say anything or pretend to be lip service after the fact. My members highlighted the situation last week and the week before where they were working in polyclinics in awful conditions. And then NUPW turned up. After the fact, when everything was being settled, they want to be part of the meeting where they can now come and say, oh, we consulted with the government and we get action taken. I tell them I'm not meeting with them. And I told the minister I'm not meeting with them. So if you want me to meet with them and go along, but you're not meeting with me and them. But they were asked to leave the meeting and go and come back another time. But these people are not acting in the best interest. We have the leadership of the two unions, these two major unions, firmly in the back pocket of the Bajans Labour Party, and they are doing nothing to rock the boat. You can't serve two masters. and they are attempting to serve two masters, and that is the problem.
Mhm.
One will suffer, and the one that is suffering is the workers. When government finish with them, they discard them, you know. These politicians don't only use you for a time, and then they will come back to the unions looking for respectability and all kind of stuff. It won't happen. The workers need to stand up. The workers need to stop pretending that the union is the NUPW and BW working in their interest. They are not. They're clearly not doing so. If there were, there would have not been a unity workers union, because unity workers union came out of a situation where the workers at the airport said that these people selling me out, we need somebody to help us. I just gotten fired from the NUPW for the third time, and so they asked me if I would form a union to represent them, and that's where it started. So we started with a need, people being sold out by the union, and the workers can take it no more. More and more.
So this meeting tomorrow that they're having, you know, what do you think is going to happen? Because it's a union that's conducting the meeting, right?
Yeah, but that's after the fact. They should have been having meetings before these things came out, because they were privy to the information. As a matter of fact, I told you they invited me to the meeting, but they won't give me the papers. So I said, but if you don't give me papers, then I can't anywhere. You imagine you invite me to a meeting to discuss proposals, but you don't want me to see the proposal before you get there. They had them though. The other unions had them. But they won't give it to me because they know that I can bring them out and tell the workers, this is what the government asked me to do. Because I will not keep secret information that my workers should have. I take instructions from the workers and not the other way around. I don't instruct them anywhere. I take instructions from them. And then if the instructions that they give me, and I say, well, look, no, that can't work because of A, B, and C. But I don't talk down and tell them, you got to do the A, you got to do B, you got to do C. And unfortunately, this is what's happening in the other unions. Last salary revision, the union put in proposals without telling the workers what they're asking for them. You know what I mean? So the unions have gone off track. Those major unions have gone off track. And I think they're not coming back. Not with the current actors. They are completely
the BWU they met today, and we don't know. I guess it was a closed meeting. We don't know anything that happened. You because I know how things can drop on your desk. Anything dropped on your desk about that meeting that they had?
But I was too busy today. I had a lot of meetings, so I didn't get my usual sources to drive past me that blow off the truck. But it will blow. So just get a little time.
A little time. Somebody who came to give some money from the march, he's from BWU, and he's telling me he was cursing. He was so angry. You know, and he said he sent the show to so many other members, and they're upset, and they're going to withdraw the membership, and he can't wait to get to the meeting. And so, you know, anybody have anything, and it can blow. Let's have a blow off the truck over on this side.
Sure.
Go ahead, Heather.
No, I was saying, sure. Let's hear what happened during the meeting. I wouldn't mind hearing.
But you know the thing about it, you know, it's how this show as well. This show, it has the people so fired up. The union leaders watching the show, the politicians watching the show, and they're trying to fix things. Every day you get up, you see something else, because their intention was to just continue, just move along with this, you know.
But Marcia, I don't think I told you before, but right now they're asking me how I could get involved with you. I don't, you know, I have never heard about Marcia Weeks not being an undesirable person, but they want to all of a sudden, you know, tarnish your name, drag you through the mud, because you have opened up an avenue for people to hear what is going on in their country and to express their views to show they don't like them. So you know our public enemy number one. Thankfully, you are.
I heard that they were, in certain high places. A friend of mine, she contacted me. She was so worried. Marcia, don't say this thing tonight and don't do that because I'm in some places and I heard this. A wonderful friend of mine, and she cares about me. But Heather and Mr. Franklin, I made up my mind long ago. Last year, August, I told my husband, I'm done with this country. I want to leave. And I obviously, God spoke to me. I had a work to do here, and I made up my mind. And I'm like an Esther. If I perish, I perish. I have nothing to lose. You hear what I tell you? I am. Oh, listen, God said He is the opposition. He gonna oppose them. All right. And we are given how God is gonna oppose them. It is through us. It's through Heather. It's through Franklin. Mr. Franklin was doing such an amazing job. It's through Lynette. It's through all of us when we get out there on the march on Saturday. You know what? It's all of us. It's all of us that is being used to be that voice of the people. And they say, oh, they're not the voice of the people. Somebody said in some high places, I wouldn't say where it was said. That's not the voice of the people. That is some political party. Really, they're going to find out. They're going to find out. They're messing around and they're going to find out, right? Because there's a day of reckoning that is coming. And I think the Bajan people they have woken up. The giant is up. They go and they poo-poo on the thing. They put jobby on the giant. They walk on the giant. They spit on the giant. They do, because the giant was sleeping, Franklin. The giant was sleeping. But you see, now that the giant up and awake, you're going to see what's going to happen on Saturday. And they're shaking in their boots. They are scrambling. They are worried. That's why all of these unions, they're quickly meeting with the people because they're scared they're going to lose them. Right? And the politicians, those MPs, they are worried because on this show, what we tell you, we say pressure the MPs. Pressure your union. Yeah? And they are worried. And Saturday, you're going to see what is going to happen out there on Saturday. Because the people are ready. They are ready. They are ready. They are woken up. And that we don't mind, Mr. Franklin, what name they're gonna call us. At least Heather is in New York. Heather can get away, Mr. Franklin.
I don't know if that will happen.
I'll tell you something. I ain't going nowhere. I don't. My passport expired. Because I have not even renewed it since 2019. So trust me when I tell you, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't running nowhere. I'm right here. I was born here. I had opportunities to work elsewhere. I remember the same NUPW sent me overseas to training session. And when the training session finished, the people offered me a job because apparently it was outstanding. I don't know. So they said. And I said, well, I don't mind working for you, but I will have to work in the Barbados office. And I'm serious. I ain't going nowhere. I have a lot of respect for people who travel overseas and seek their fortunes and whatever else and make things. That is not me. Even my children, they're out there. I have a son in Bali. He's an entrepreneur, so he's all the outside of the world. Right now, it's 9:44 p.m. It's 9:44 a.m. out there, and he is working. So I don't have a problem with people going there and making their fortune. But I said that person is not me. My thing is here. I told you just now that I got fired 3 times from NUPW, 3 times, and each time I found my way back into representing workers. So I suspect, and people might tell me, "Oh, you sound like a preacher." Know what? I think it's where God wants me to be, and I do not want to be in a situation where I end up in the real guts because God wants me to do something and I go on something else. So I keep up the real guts. I am doing the Lord's work.
Amen, Brother Franklin. I tell you, I love it. And let me just say to those of you who are watching, remember, now we're a team and we've accomplished so much. I'm going to ask Heather before we close off the show. She had a beautiful post. Heather, I love your post today. And you were chronicling all that has happened since we started about 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
right?
that one. Okay.
Yes, so hold you find it, but let me ask the people. I'm gonna ask you guys. We need some water servers. You saw me last time trying to lift that bag of water, trying to make sure people are hydrated because I don't want people to fall down like the NCF thing where the little children and fall down and fainting. We don't treat people that way. We have cold water for them and make sure that everybody good and feel sweet and irie. All right. So when we want you, if you want to help with serving water out there, because we do have some elderly people out there and it might be hot. Please come early and identify yourself. You want to serve water, okay? If you want to help to marshal, to keep the crowd, in line and work with the police. The police is our friend. We're asking you to come early as well, and we just ask you to wear something red. Oops. Sorry, I said red. But you know what? To wear something red around your neck. We're not promoting the BLP. We're not promoting any party because somebody might see us out there, casual and think we are the BLP party and accuse us of promoting the BLP party. But we're not promoting any party. But we're asking everybody. That's what they wore the last time. Wear something red. Just a red scarf around the neck if you are going to be, or something tie on your hand so people know that you are there to help. All right. And then importantly, we need about 3 or 4 persons that will have a copy of the petition, and you are moving around the crowd and also along the sidewalks to get the signatures for the petition. On that day we should get so many signatures. Some people who are lining the street, and so come and tell me, come early, get there at 9:30, right? And you identify yourself, and we to say what you want to how you want to help. All right. And then the last thing, share the flyers, share the videos. We're going to do our best to share them out. Check the Marcia Week Show Facebook page. We're going to share them out. And we ask you to share and share and share and share. Send them via WhatsApp. Go to the Facebook and send it by my messenger, and personally invite people out. Put people in your car. Don't assume that people are going to come back up there. I know they ask for it. They're the ones who ask for it. But they, you don't want them not to show up, right? So you want to make sure whatever you did last week, you're gonna double that effort, double the effort. Okay, we see people these flyers and stuff you see that I put up here. They're donated. People just make the stuff and send them to me, right? So you do what you need to do to make sure that people are out there on Saturday. Right, and that it is great. The people say they want another color. Listen, it's just a color. It don't mean anything. All right, you want a different color, Mr. Franklin? The people say don't wear the marshals not to wear red. I don't understand. They wore red the last time. What do you want them to wear, Mr. Franklin? What you say, General? What you say?
Get an armband.
An armband.
Yeah. Something that would signify that they are with us, but they have an official role to perform.
Okay. So we will scrap that. What listen, why you are so petty? Anyway, we will scrap that. We will scrap that, and we will do something else. Okay, we will do another color around here, because we for our marches for the children, we always wear the marshals wear something red. Okay, so they say black. They want black. And listen, guys, remember, if you have your Bajan flags, bring the Bajan flags, right? This is all about Barbados, not about Mr. Franklin. This is about Barbados. Okay, so bring the Barbados flag. Or we are going to have our truck driver, who is giving us a great concession on the truck that we use. He will have flags available for sale. And we want to help out a black brother, right? And the flags are $10 for this size, the large size, and $5 for the smaller one. So you can bring that out and support him, because he's helping us by not charging us a full rate for the truck. Okay? Somebody said we sweaty hands. Right? Okay. So and they're saying all different colors can be used, but not that color. All right. Okay. So so folks, that's it for me in terms of any announcements. Let me hear Heather, and then Mr. Franklin will have the final word to us. Go ahead, Heather.
Okay, it was the petition update, August 15th, 2023, and it was entitled Perseverance Seldom Fails. Something is happening. In 2 weeks, this movement has not only started a national conversation about the NIS funds, it has also delivered a successful march in Bridgetown. However, this was not all. We forced the senators to delay the passing of the bill that outlines the new structure of the NIS being a corporation. We caused the newspapers to carry articles about the proposed changes. We even caused the PM to react, asking for the private sector's support. The silence of the two larger trade unions was deafening. However, our boisterous chatter and action also caused the NUPW's leadership to react, even though by his response, it was apparent that he did not want to offend the government. We have heard that the BWU will be having a meeting later today. It is now apparent that we have become an inspiration for another entity that is being disadvantaged to start a petition, Savvy on the Beach. It does not stop there. It now seems that the awakening that was started by the Montgomery, Alabama brawl has sailed into Barbados. The outrage that has been festering about the QEH is now set to take off with a life of its own. The administration cannot be happy. Wherever they turn from now on, there will be turmoil. This time, gimmicks and giveaways in the form of books for primary school children will not work. Yesterday, the announcement that US $40 million will leave Barbados annually added insult to injury, as no further explanations have been given on the investments. I believe that we are on the cusp of a new emancipation. Things will get worse. However, we the people are nearing the point of no return, and there will be no turning back. Be encouraged that a new dawn is coming. We will persevere. Continue to share this position as though your life and the lives of your future generations depend on it. That's it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And over to Mr. Franklin, the very last word.
It doesn't appear to depend on it. It does.
All right.
It actually depends on it.
Okay.
You know, Barbados have to wake up and take matters into their own hands, because the people that we entrusted to look for our best interests have other best interests, and it is not ours. The unions have discredited themselves. The political parties that should be telling their leaders, no, this is not what we want, they have failed us. And I suspect, it's a lot of PR and a lot of gimmicks that they use to make people believe that they're popular. They're not popular one-to-one. They're go Instagram and do everything else, and Facebook, all the platforms, and they pollute the space with their nonsense. But they're not doing it in the best interest. They're doing it for themselves. I would be very happy if I didn't have to come out here and speak up because the government was doing everything good. But they're not. At one stage, I decided, look, I am not going to get involved with this thing. I'm going to let things happen, because it seems to me that the people haven't put the Barbados Party in office twice with 30 seats each time, say to me that's what they want. But every day, and I'm not exaggerating or anything like that, every day, people will see me and say, Caswell, but you're not speaking up, we're not hearing you. And I said, well, this is what you wanted. What do you want me to speak about? But this national insurance issue, I could not stay silent. That
Mhm.
put the fire back in me, because I tell
Mhm.
you, this is people saying, "Oh, this is our lifeline," and it sounds like a little slogan and stuff. It is not just a slogan; it is a fact. Too many people in Barbados, if not for national insurance, will have nothing, and we cannot allow the government to destroy it. We cannot allow the government to feather their nest, feather other people's nest out of national insurance. And because the political parties, both of them are complicit in the destruction of the NIS, that they're not speaking up. The Democratic Labour Party, they had a press conference. I said, but like the force about their press conference, and they speak up. They speak up. Why did they not have their own march or something to that effect? You want to know why? They help take the money for national insurance. Look, easiest thing to do, apologize for your past errors and move on and say, well, we were wrong. But what these people are doing doesn't make, because we were wrong, what these people are doing don't make them right now too. Acknowledge your mistakes and move forward. And the Democrat Labour Party stayed away from the people's movement because they want to be seen to be them doing it. They don't realize that they should take a leaf out of the mayor's book. Mayor hijacked the unions with the assistance of the private sector, because she was for the private sector when she was in opposition, to get rid of the most progressive tax that we had, NSRL, because the merchants didn't want it. And political parties, she was up front in the march. Where was the Democratic Labour Party and all of this? Fighting among themselves? We don't need them to be fighting among themselves. We need them to be fighting for us. They don't have a seat in Parliament, but how do you expect to get one? By standing there so and grumble and decide that you don't want this body belief and I want this body belief and all kind of stuff. And most of the people that are running for leadership don't deserve to lead anything. They don't deserve to lead a procession of ants. But they think too highly of themselves, and they're not standing up for the people of this country either. They need to come out here if they want to be the government next time around. They have to come out and show people that they're committed to the people of
Agreed.
this country.
I totally agree with you, sir. Continue,
They're not.
sorry.
They are not. They are just looking to see, when I get into power, what I can get my 2 terms, and I can get my pension too, and I can get my pension at age 50. That is what politics is all about in Barbados now. Everybody looking for a pension. If you canvass any of the politicians in the House now, they will tell you, oh, I can get my 2 terms. That's what they're talking about, you know. All of them looking out for their 2 terms. They're looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for the best interests of Barbadians. And they're not looking out for the best interests of the people who elect them.
Mm-hmm.
They're serving other masters. The Democratic Labour Party was the government of Barbados, and I think they want to be government again. But they will not become the government if they concentrate their efforts on each other. I'm not canvassing for them, and I don't want them to run the party. But while they are doing this, they are allowing the government to get away with nonsense. The government now has a free hand because there is no opposition from what is the traditional opposition. They have the opposition within. Lord help us if these people do not understand their roles, and they're going to, and they too will be having to pull Barbados down because people are looking out for them to speak up. They're not looking for me.
Correct. And someone is saying here that this is my belief as well. You need to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people on this issue. And this is why I say to people, listen, I know you might all kill me for this, but let me tell you, no, but I'm not going to vote because people say, oh, you should vote. This is your right. Yeah, it's my right also not to, because I'm not doing it anymore. I did it 4 times already, and I don't get anything on. I'm going to watch you. And all of these issues that concern us. We want to know from the DLP, where do you stand on all of these things? We want to know from the BLP where you stand, APP where you stand, and then make an informed decision. Don't vote out of emotion. And if any of them think that they're gonna come and get us to do, you know, whatever, and come with shiny things and glittering little shiny things and sweet words, come on, man, we're more educated than that. And this awakened Barbados is not going to go for that anymore. They come now with this little $100 to give. $100, $100. Listen, you ever try to buy a book for a child in primary school? What $100 going to do? Please, I don't know if that can buy a full set of uniform. Right? So people are ready. Huh?
It can't. And if you're gonna buy decent, if you're gonna buy shoes, you can't buy decent shoes with it either.
So get up, guys, come and do it for Barbados, because none of us, we're not getting paid for this here. Nobody giving out. We're not getting no kickbacks, nothing for this. Listen, Heather decided to do the petition out of the goodness of her heart. She wrote me on Facebook and said, Mrs. Weeks, I will do the petition. Okay? And that's why she's here. You know, I open up my computer, that my own computer, I buy my mic, I buy my light, I buy, I put on my nice clean clothes, and I come on here and I do my thing. And Mr. Franklin, I don't pay him to come on here. You think if nobody can pay him to sit on here 3 hours? Please, listen, you all come out here and do it for this. You see this here that I have in my hand? You do it for Barbados. Do it for Barbados. Find yourself out there on Saturday. And don't let anybody fool you and tell you about, oh, you know, we're going out there in the hot sun for not going to do anybody anything. Really, you see, you heard all the things that Heather read out that has happened since we started. They say a little bit of people, but let them give them the Bajans. What we say, what? Well, in Jamaica, we say, we lick about we? What? Anybody knows? We lick about we what? Nobody knows? Listen, what kind of Caribbean people we are. That's the last thing, man. Who gonna tell me we say we liquor, but we start with a T. Huh? No, with Talawa. Come on, say Talawa, Heather.
Talawa. What does it mean?
Yes, somebody got it. Means that we're big and we're large, we're liquor, but we're strong. We're short, we're little, we're small, but we're strong. We're liquor, but we're Talawa. We don't have the resources, but we're Talawa. Yeah, we're liquor, but we're Talawa. So that's how we end tonight. All right. God bless you all. God bless you all.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Heather.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sleep well.